said to mum and dad, I was like, we just bought a $13,000 XL. What do you reckon we buy a TA2 car? This is it. It's a huge gamble, like literally going from 2 races and XLs.
Episode 6 of Hit the Wall podcast. I've got no, he's not a local. How far have you driven down to be here today, Brad?
About 4.5 hours.
Where are you from?
Right down the bottom of South Australia, so sort of Mount Gambier area is the best to explain it. Mount Gambier, everyone knows Mount Gambier, but actually from a small town, Penola, so 40 minutes.
I know where the Speedway is. Is that close to where that is?
About 40 minutes from the Speedway.
Right.
Yeah.
Penola.
Penola's, so I know Kai Allen, he's from Mount Gambier.
Yeah, so Kai Allen, Job Stewart, Scott Pye, all those guys.
It's a breeding ground.
From Mount Gambier. And then, I'm 40 minutes up the road, so not quite the Mount Gambier talent, I suppose, but close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
No, Penola would love you. And growing up as a kid, did you ever think you would be where you are right now racing TA2?
No way. So literally 3 years ago, it still blows people's mind that I haven't driven a bitumen kart. Never driven a bitumen kart. My XL debut was on my 18th birthday. So literally just jumped in, no test days, no nothing. And a week before my 19th birthday was my debut in TA2. So it all happened within 300 days.
So I remember this. So Adrian, Brad was racing XLs for a good period of time. And I remember, because we all saw you as the upcoming star, because you literally went from a front wheel drive 4-cylinder with 70 kilowatts to a TA2. What was you just didn't muck around. You just went for the jump.
No, that's right. It all started, I raced Speedway. So I raced senior Speedway for 2 years, 17 to sort of 18 when I started, 19 when a bit of a crossover with XLs. So dirt late models, they're a sort of 530 horsepower thing as well. So drove them with Matt Crimmins out of Two Wells for a while.
Yeah, I know Matty.
So drove them, and then the transition to TA2 wasn't too bad because of the high horsepowered Speedway stuff that I'd driven. So yeah.
That is true. I've driven a super sedan. My old man's got a super, and when you can handle and you feel that power, you can somewhat transition that. But it is different from a circuit racing when you got a gearbox and you can sort of have to drive it smooth off the corner, whereas Speedway you can be a bit more looser.
Especially with circuit, you sort of every lap, you do a 20-lap race, you got 14 corners. That's 14 brake markers you have to remember every time. You're changing gears sort of 15, 20 times a lap. It's a lot going on. The Speedway car, you just sort of set and forget and just hang on.
But in a Speedway car, you're always moving the wheel, mate. You're always moving the wheel.
Well, funny enough, you're probably not using the wheel. It's more on the throttle.
Yeah.
That's how you steer the car.
Especially with a bar car like a late model super sort of thing, was always you're more on the gas when you want it to rotate, or now you jump into a TA2 or a supercar or anything, you jump on the gas and you're understeer. So.
Well, I've seen it. I look at TA2 and Trans Am and I say, holy crap! They look like a monster to drive. And
I think it's the tyre. It's the tyre that is that correct?
Yeah. So I done a test day with Eggleston last year in a Super 2 with Kai Allen, and I was obviously more horsepower, sequential, everything in a supercar, but you just don't realise how, I wouldn't say bad the TA2 tyre is. It's just so much of a bag tyre, American. These cars are literally made for short track racing in America. So it was sort of everything you do in the TA2, you can rotate it with the gas. You can do all that little stuff, but the supercar is so sensitive to everything you've done. You threw the sweeper at Winton and touch the gas, and the thing just wants to understeer. Where you can get away with a lot more of that sort of stuff in a TA2.
But they should never take that away. It's awesome. Leave that. That's the whole philosophy of
So who's taking it away?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. People think, they could be quicker if they have a certain slick tyre and things like that. Don't do it. Yeah. Leave it the way it is, because that's what produces good racing.
Yeah, that's the thing. You go to SMP or something, you're 3-4 seconds at the most behind a supercar on lap time. And you know windows, you straight out exhaust, H pattern, tyres that are moving around, you're leaving black strips every corner you leave. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love watching the Trans Am, probably more so than the supercars. But
so for someone that hasn't driven a TA2 car, that has a little bit of experience, how would you describe that thing?
Wild. They're just so different. Now that if I hadn't got in a supercar, like a Super 2 last year, I wouldn't really know how to explain it. It's all I sort of know. An XL and a TA2 like one's an underpowered, car you drive to Woolworths, and one's an American, H pattern thing with a bag tyre on it. So
don't say Woolworths.
Drake.
Yeah,
so
JP,
you're right.
Watching this, I drive my drive my XL to Drake's all the time.
Is there a Drake's in your area?
There's a Drake's opening up in Mount Gambier.
Is there actually?
I spoke to JP about it at Bathurst, and he was very excited. I want to be his first customer.
He didn't even know it was opening up. He was
What
like,
would you buy? What would be your first thing to buy? Like a Mars bar or like a chicken pack or something like?
It's got to be something different, right? Because JP's Instagram, right, always...
We talked about this a couple of episodes
all his
ago.
trials on his Instagram is all about like flame and twisting and all that sort of stuff. So if I was going to go to a Drake store and be the first customer, it'd have to be something out of control.
Just to
suit
weird
the
flavour.
JP vibe.
Have you been to America?
No, I haven't been.
So you go to one of their big supermarkets and they've got every single flavour, every pack size you can think of in their aisles. You can go through 2 aisles worth of chips. It's amazing.
Well, you go to any convenience store these days, they have everything that America has of the imported goods.
What I'm saying, they've got like every option under the sun, every brand, every packet size, it's every flavour you think of in these.
That's where the money is.
Well, it's just they got the population.
Yeah.
It's just...
But most of it's made over there.
And they eat like pigs over there. Like seriously.
I look at NASCAR and I look at some of the sponsorship they get because they got so many brands.
Kellogg's,
I see Colgate
M&Ms.
sponsoring a car.
Yeah, I've seen Ritz Crackers is sponsoring.
Yeah.
Some of these sponsors is like, you dream to get them in Australian
But they
racing.
do it well. When you go to a NASCAR, I've been to a NASCAR event, and then the promotion is done the way motorsport should be done.
We miss out a lot on what NASCAR, and we've probably all started noticing it more now since Shane went over. I know Marcus Ambrose was over there, and that was when I was a bit younger, so I don't really recall it. But now that Shane's over there and Cam goes over there, and
we'll touch on that later, right? Yeah, like the few of the boys are racing next weekend.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to watch that and see how
it's going to be a marathon.
I'm like 2:30 in the morning. Come on,
you're very dedicated. Now, this weekend's a big one. You're actually in Adelaide, and it tied in well because you're going to race in Queensland for TA2.
Yep.
So where are you in the championship, and what do you need to do?
I need to do a lot. So I don't know exactly where I would shape up this year. They're doing a drop around system, so you can drop your worst round. So I think there's 14 cars that have done all 3 rounds. I've done 2, and I think I'm sitting 5th. So out of that, it's pretty decent, and the points might look pretty worse off, but my worst round is a 0. So if they take that off, I'm not losing any points. Where
can you take a 0?
Yes. Yeah. So you can take a 0. So now the front guys that have, their worst round might be P2, they got to drop all those points. So it looks worse on paper than what I'm actually sitting, but sort of 5th now, and they got to drop a whole round. If I just don't DNF any, we're sort of sweet.
It's almost worth not racing around. If you want to say,
I don't think you can do that with those. You can't drop a.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay,
I did.
right.
So
which round was that?
That Bathurst. Yeah. So Perth was a invitational, just like a.
I don't think it's actually TA2 or Trans Am. They've got that.
So,
Perth is going through a funny thing with Trans Am.
Now they've got the same owners,
right?
Like TA2 and
Trans
Am are owned by the one. So that's Mark Crutcher, Graham Cheney, and Paul Hadley.
So just to clear it up, so was it PBR was the importers?
Yep. So
they're gone?
Pete Robinson.
Is he gone now?
So he got bought out by, so him and his daughter Dana, who I raced with, they helped me a lot.
Yep.
We'll touch on that throughout this. But so Peter and Dana own TA2 Racing Australia.
Yep.
And PBR, which was the distributors.
And they sold that.
So they sold TA2 and the distributors company out to Mark, Paul and Graham.
And they also bought Trans Am off of the Gary Rogers.
Yes, so they bought that sort of 2-3 rounds into the
I think that's a good thing for Trans Am and TA2. They can holistically come together and work together and promote the 2 series. And don't fight each other.
As long as it stays with 2, because there's such a difference. Like you watch like TA2, I race TA2, and a lot of people will say, is that sort of the B grade to Trans Am? But you look at it, you got Jared Hughes and Todd Hazelwood comes and races, and like Josh Haynes and Tim Brook, like they're no slouches. You got Ben Gomersall, on the podium at a Super 2 round, and then he'll rock up this weekend and run sort of top 3. Like it's a good good competitive series. So hopefully they stay the two. So then you've got your sort of, your two levels, which I like. And obviously Trans Am's on Motorsport Australia, so there's super license points. And
so you're on ASA?
Yeah, so TA2's ASA with the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series.
Yep.
So, yeah.
What do you think they're going to do? What's the purpose of owning two?
I think at the end of the day, owning two is like, I don't really know. I don't have any inside information on this one actually, but hopefully, if it does say two, I think the best part is no clashes of rounds. The parts trucks at every round, everything. I don't think there's too many. I think the big thing, just thinking out aloud here, I reckon it could be also keeping the cars the same, because as soon as you deviate from that, and at the moment we've got two different tyres, which has never been the case. So starting
tyres that's one thing, but you start changing engines, gearboxes, diffs,
in multiple categories
into a shit
show. Which would have never been the case anyway, because that was all whether it was a contract or just signed up. The distributors for these cars to race was under the one banner, I suppose you'd say. So all the gearboxes. But
they're say, who owned Trans Am before? Gary Rogers Consortium.
I'm not actually sure.
I think it was Gary Rogers. I think. But they could change a ruling, and then it could have went weird. So now, I guess, because it's combined, they're going to be smart with their decisions.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting, because next year, obviously this year, they've done it halfway through the year with Trans Am. So it'll be interesting to see come the new year. Nothing's going to change now. No. It's good that they're on a lot of supercar rounds now. I think it's great to see. But in terms of going forward, I actually have no idea. But let's see.
I've got a real serious question to put on the spot. Who had the idea of bringing up the Transcom page and putting it on Instagram? Who runs that? And what does the category think of that? That is the funniest page in the world. If you haven't seen it yet.
So it is actually. Have you seen it?
You've been blasted.
You've been spit roasted on it.
And a lot of people do. They'll go through phases, and whoever it is, shout out to them, because it's awesome.
You have no idea who owns it.
It's like the keyboard racer. On the Speedway.
Everyone knows who the keyboard.
I know, but early on it wasn't. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where this has gone.
I think a lot of people say, I don't know, I don't even want to speculate.
Hang on, but it started with Supercum. Is that right? But because they're using all the commentary.
But there was also, before that was NASCAM. NASCAM's been huge.
But that wasn't the same. I think they've used that as
I don't think the two now, Supercum and Transcom, if I'm to speculate anything, I have no idea. But for my belief,
it's the same.
No, not the same.
Oh, not the same.
I don't believe it is. Because, I don't know, it seems like...
It's a niche. It's a niche to have all that inside information.
They don't hold back. And I think that's what, I don't know if you've seen, but I do these reels with Hi-Tec Oils throughout the paddock on a race weekend, where I just go around with a spring and a microphone or a spanner, and I just, not even anyone Hi-Tec related, I'll go up to, anyone from any team, GRM, Nash Morris, I spoke to.
Matt
Totani at Bathurst, Brad Vaughan, and... it's good quality content. You have a bit of banter and stuff. And I think that's what you see now, especially now everyone's loving NASCAR. It's coming back into motorsport.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're having the fun back into it.
And Apex Hunters. I think it's
have a laugh.
I think it's good to just let your hair down, say what you think, and it's sort of back.
We're not pinned by anyone by saying you have to say this.
Correct.
You mustn't say this.
You're not associated with anything. Yeah. So whoever it is, shout out to them, because it's great.
They're probably watching it right now. They're waiting for a meme.
That's right. They're waiting. Yeah, they'll cut this up. But it's funny because Chris Pither gets absolutely slammed on it, and he's the Trans Am DSO, and he worked as my driver, coach, engineer at SMP for TA2. And they grabbed that and run with it. And they said they'd done this post. It was look out, DSO's getting paid by teams, hashtag money talks. So if I go into Trans Am now and have any sort of dispute with the stewards and anything goes against me, it'd be interesting.
I'd love to see Chris Pitter's reaction to that, because he had a laugh on one of my old videos joking about race stewards, and he has a bit of a laugh. He's a good bloke, isn't he, Chris?
He's a great guy. Yeah,
and he's done DSO for multiple categories. I see him at every event. I swear.
Who's this?
Chris Pither.
I think he works a little bit with the Brad Verker in the Utes.
Brad Verker,
as well.
Yeah. They did the Excel Enduro together as well with us, and
they
Chris,
did too. Yeah,
Chris is great. I mean, he's in the paddock for ages.
Is he doing any racing in the supercar Enduros this year? Or not?
I don't think he has. Has he raced at all recently?
I think the last time, correct me if it could be very wrong, but I remember him and Garnett Patterson were teammates in the Porsche Cup maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, Garnett's a local here in South Australia. He's doing really cool stuff.
Him on the pod.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
I forgot about
Gazza.
Gaz is great, and
Gazza's
he was a race coach at SMP last weekend for JP Drake, and he's been tuning him up and whatnot. And it's funny because all these other gentleman drivers, they'll come up and they'll just steal him off JP and you know get the information when they can.
He was driver coach for me a bit last year and hopefully some this year, but he's doing his own good stuff overseas, so it's cool.
He is, 100%.
So dirt karting, you done a bit of dirt karting?
Yeah, I did.
So what years were you doing that?
Well, I started when I was 7. So that because we have got a track 20 minutes from home, Lucendale Kart Club, which Todd Hazelwood and all that sort of started there. So 7 was as early as we could get in.
Yeah.
And that was 3 years before I could get into Speedway. So it was like.
So what did you do in Speedway? Juniors. He did.
Yeah.
I think we were different eras.
Yeah, I remember you were with my brother Jack.
Yeah.
That was sort of that era, but
Joel Chadwick and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we had. A whole host of different people. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
you raced around Australia in the Speedway?
Yeah. So we went everywhere. We went Darwin twice.
What cars did you have?
So I started out in. I hate saying this actually, but it was right in the front wheel drive.
Yeah, we're the same.
I was
straight.
Started in the 3-pot G100 Daihatsu Straight.
Yeah.
And then went back to a Datsun because we thought they're the same cars. One's rear drive, one's front wheel drive. Like horsepower wise. So went back to a Datsun, done some good stuff. Never got a state title, never got an Australian title, but podium nearly on every one. I was the youngest person in the A main of 1 year of like every title.
Yeah, wow.
So I was 12 and Brock Atkins won one when I was 12 and he was 18. It was his last race. And I was 12. So that was cool. I got second. And
the field's big in your era?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it was like, I've sort of lost connection with the junior sedan stuff, but it was like a big...
It was. We were the same. Like we probably had 110 competitors in the national title.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah. I never raced in SA. I was always Victorian series just because it was so competitive. Nothing against what they got down here, but it was just so competitive.
We did the same.
Yeah. It was just like the JSPS
You raced at Lang?
Stuff. Yeah.
Lang was good.
Was Bordertown Speedway there?
Bordertown was good. It was a different circuit back then. It was more flat and...
Yeah. That was one of the SA titles I got second at was in the Datsun at Bordertown. And that was when it was old, like its old layout, obviously.
Yeah.
But go-karts is where we started. It's actually...
dirt karts is good.
Bullet race karts?
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So he just set that up in the last couple of years. And I actually jumped back in one here 3 weeks ago.
125?
Yeah, 125. Just awesome. I love 125s.
Oh, that was just out here?
No, it was Lucendale.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I like 125s. You spin them out and keep going. Whereas your K2s and that, you spin them out, that's your race.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was speaking to Asher Johnson today because his kid's 3.5 years old and he's already looking at go-karts with Ben Brown when they're 5, and apparently it's not that expensive.
Well, dirt karts to start, we touched on this last week. I think Ben sent in a question and we talked about sort of, if you want to get going into motorsport, I think it's a good solution. Cheap, gets you going, but
dirt karts
I think you don't learn as much as what you would.
Well, how come bitumen karts cost more than dirt karts?
I think it's to win and do well, you can't skull drag the car up. Whereas dirt, the driver makes a bit more. Whereas bitumen, probably a little bit more on the engine, tyres, how much money you got.
Probably not as flooded either. Like you got hundreds, if not thousands, racing bitumen karts, whereas there's not. Like dirt's huge. Like you rock up to a title at Loxton or something in dirt karts.
But I think it's more the driver. I think that's the aspect that. So you don't need, even if you spent a brand new X30 and brand new groove, brand new Hoosier tyres, brand new chassis, you can still skull drag a car up the front. Whereas in bitumen, if you don't have a good car equipment, it doesn't matter how good you are. So I think that's where the cost comes in. And I think bitumen engines cost more and you have to throw more tyres at it.
Yeah, you can get away with dirt kart tyres if it's not a black track for like races on races.
That's good.
I think that's what it is.
That's good. Yeah.
And you don't race as long. So dirt karts, you might do a 5, 6, 8 lap race, whereas bitumen will go for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's good. And funny enough, I think about it, then moving on to XLs, I actually raced Brad a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And
Who won?
No need to flex. I did beat him in the last race.
Oh, so you're ready for Trans
But
Am.
he let me through.
I'm very grateful for the drive there from Mish's XL garage. So I'm absolutely not going to bag anything out. But Matt Totani did beat me, so my car must.
Hey, let's have a fair fight. We'll do engines that are the same.
Brad tunes up the cars, and that was a lot of fun. But our last race finished under safety car because it was a big crash. But why?
There's always a big crash in XLs.
Mate,
What's the deal?
That's the entertainment. And, there was.
I know what the deal is. Matt Totani's racing.
Most headlights broken in a season. That's not a good thing. No. But I had a clean round at Mal our last one. It was raining all 3 races.
I told you what to do in the rain and you listened.
I blocked the whole track and no one can get through.
You were using the outside, the wet
So
line.
I was in P7. Everyone's Shane Wiki and all the other boys have gone off. I've got all the other guys behind me. I just hold middle of the track. No one's getting through.
You're mirror racing.
Yeah, that's it.
You're allowed to in the wet because you can just say you're going offline.
You're going offline to get wet. But why did you guys choose XLs when you turned 18? What was the reasoning behind that?
The switch from dirt was pretty well. I felt like I could do more in bitumen, not like sprint cars and wingless, and there's so many pathways out there. Even in late models at that stage, you could go to America and do some cool things. But I just felt COVID hit, and there was like 2-3 late models at every event at Murray Bridge, and it wasn't huge. And the fact that I could get an XL, competitive XL for like 13 grand, and go test days for $200 a day.
I think that's the big thing.
Is that how much it cost you your first car?
No, but the test days, I'm more so saying.
Test days.
You can't do that in Speedway.
In Speedway.
You can't.
No.
I think that's the worst thing in Speedway.
Why can't you test? Isn't there more money in the
it's
tracks
the grading the track, prepping the track. But really, I don't think it's only that. I think winter also causes havoc. So they're racing on the weekend, so they can't race. They can't practice during the weekends because they're racing. And winter you can't practice because it's raining.
Yeah.
So I think
those good tracks are prepping. Like if a big event like Perth are the best
2 days
for
before.
it. If not like the week before. And like when the A mains finish at a sprint car, they're ripping it and they're working it. High limit. They'd be working it. If the car's on the track, they're pretty well working it. Whereas you can go out to the Bend,
Mallard, every day of the week.
Tracks like that just throw them on for $200 a day. Like you can't beat it.
Yeah, true. But if there was money and there was enough competitors interested in practice days, then you'd spend the money to get the track prep, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
Or is it too much work?
I think it's just time. But I don't know the answer, but I think the testing thing is a big one that you touched on.
And just the fact that I could go out and drive a race car for $200 a day for like nearly unlimited track time at a track supercars race day. I was 17 years of age.
This was at the Bend?
Yeah. I was like, this is pretty cool. Like it's 2 hours from home. It was cool. Car was relatively cheap. If I look back at that now, it's good money.
And you went pretty well. You got a couple of podiums and whatnot in that time.
Yeah, I think was it the Ryan Panowich?
Yeah. That's a long time ago.
That was my debut.
Yeah.
And that was my 18th birthday on the Friday. It was just, I think it was like 43 cars, the last one.
So you went from front wheel drive to front wheel drive?
Pretty well, yeah. The late model was the last thing I drove.
Okay,
so,
that was Crimmins' car?
Yeah, Matt Crimmins. So that was good fun. So,
he still does some dirt cuts with his daughter.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
See him at the tracks.
That was, late model was a good day. If I was jump back in Speedway, I'd want to drive one of them.
The tracks here aren't big enough.
No, they're not. And that's why
Look, Parramatta.
They're so big.
Perth.
Yeah.
Probably the only track that's usable for them.
Yeah.
So late models, if you don't know, Dusty, they're like a super sedan, but
I've seen
bigger.
Them. Yeah. I think Steve Vaughan used to drive him as well. He was,
he has his bodies and bonnets flying off.
And over in America, they're like huge.
Oh, they're massive.
Like, almost big as sprint cars.
That's the thing. You don't want to. Do you really want to go to America though, just to find
100%.
competition?
There's more money.
If you had money, you would.
Yeah, you would. You would. But it's a bit of a risk as well. That everything's a risk, but that's a big step as well. So I guess bitumen is the right pathway to go.
Yeah.
So that's where you went, did a few years of that, and then the Trans Am thing started to really push forward.
Yeah.
Wasn't
So
it?
I'd literally done how I met Lee Stibbs. We always joke about it now. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened because my parents probably thinking we've spent way too much money now. But how it happened is when I bought the car off James Benford, he forgot to give me the logbook. So I had to go to Arrow Car Sales and pick the logbook up. And that's how I met him. I knew Max sort of before through Speedway, Max Vadot. I sort of got 10th in my first race at the Panowich Memorial and done well. And then within my second round, Lee was like, Max's dad, Mike, is starting the team up, and we'd love another driver. Max is going to be the coach, and it's going to be awesome. And I said to Mum and Dad, I was like, we just bought a $13,000 XL. What do you reckon we buy a TA2 car? And it sort of went from there.
Really?
Mum and Dad sort of said, like, this is it. It's a huge gamble, like literally going from 2 races and XLs. And we done it, and it was a week before no test days, no nothing. We flew up bought the car from Queensland.
Whose car was it?
Chris Papper's. So it was a Norwell car.
Right.
So at that time, I went and done a day with Kai Allen up at Norwell and seen the car myself up there. Paul sort of was like, it's a great car. Spoke to Dad. We got it and flew up to QR for our start, and that was the first time I seen it. And we ran third, so it was pretty cool.
So you raced it that weekend that you bought it, sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah. So never seen it until.
And that was 2022.
Must have been 2022. Yeah.
So who was prepping your car back then? Was that a family run?
No, so it was all Mike Vidot.
It was all Mike,
both cars, Lee's car and my car was in Adelaide. Max was our sort of driver coach. And Mike would prep them all, and it was really cool. Like, it was, feel like it was the simple days.
Yeah.
Now it's more complicated.
Yeah, that's right.
As the motorsport gets more
You thought it was complicated going from XLs to TA2, and then there's always another massive jump.
And I guess the category as a whole has gotten more competitive.
Yeah,
and
my mum and dad, were very involved in Speedway. Dad's dad raced, and my pa, and then, Dad raced. And when we sort of looked at pathways after XLs, we were sort of looking at it, and I looked at it and was like, Tim Brook and all these drivers had won 86 championships and then moved to TA2. And now not exactly, but in ways 86 can be competitive and expensive as a TA2 car nowadays. So we sort of went, well, let's just go straight to TA2, and it sort of paid off.
I think they're the two pathways, really, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's for a bang for buck. Trans Am's bloody good.
It's pretty good once you're in the car.
For what you get out of that.
And that's the thing,
3 seconds off a supercar.
I tell Dad, and he raced limited sportsmans and super sedans and that in Speedway, probably cost him near on nothing. Raced and worked on his own cars and everything. And I started him like, TA2 is nearly one of the most cheapest national recognised categories. And it's like 350 grand a year to race. And it's like, how's that the cheapest? Well, you look at the next cheapest, maybe Porsche or Super 2. And
the Super Utes are cheaper.
Yeah, sorry.
But
Utes.
Apart from the Utes, put the Utes aside.
Yeah.
What else is there?
No, that's
seriously, 600-700?
Yeah.
I think GR Cup would cost you.
Yeah, but that's more of a development
is a
series.
development.
But
It's not so much.
Race
I wouldn't call
Cup, what would it cost? Like a full blown winning the season.
I think it'd be
200?
250.
Yeah. So you could win TA2 championship off 250.
But it's a development series.
Yeah.
I don't call TA2 or Trans Am a development series at all.
Yeah.
It's a professional series.
Yeah.
So what's another professional series that is close to the price? And there's nothing. No. That's what you're sort of trying to get at.
The next from Trans Am is Porsche and Super 2.
And what's that? 700.
Yeah, that's right.
It's ridiculous price.
Double the cost like that.
Yeah. So that's where we always sort of go at, and that's what your decision is. So it's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
I remember one of your scariest accidents, you had a brake failure, which was at QR. Now, that wasn't your debut round, but it was a pretty hefty one.
Yep.
And that was a pretty hard time for you guys, I guess, trying to bounce back from that. So what actually happened?
So after Darwin, all on good terms, Lee went his own way. Everyone was busy, and I was looking at selling my own Mustang. Mum and Dad took a punt. We'd already done sort of 14 months. It was like, sound check. It was almost, 14 months, and they gave me a fair go. And if I hadn't got a big sponsor or been picked up by then, they were looking at selling it. And, this is where Dana and Peter Robinson come into it. So they got wind of me selling my car or hearing about selling my car. And I got a call from Dana Bullock that day, and she pretty well said, we can't let you do that. You're only young and starting out. How about you bring your car up, bring it up to Brisbane. If it doesn't sell up here, we'll let you run and we'll work out a deal later. So that was 3 days before that QR round. Me and Dad came up here, put it on a truck in a yard here, and it went straight to Brisbane, got prepped for a day, and we went there. And that was sort of, looking back at it now, that week sort of shaped where I am now. If it wasn't for that phone call then, it probably would have sold, and that would have been it. Whatever where the wind took me from there. But me and Maxi flew up, and that's race 2. Lost brakes going into turn 4 at QR, and that was it. It was about 222 k's an hour by the time we went off.
I haven't seen this. Well, so this was at QR.
Yeah.
So what turn are you?
Turn 4.
Turn 4.
So
the left-hander.
Yep, the left-hander. So we just
Is it a tyre barrier?
Is there a ditch on the outside?
yeah. So you
isn't
can't see. So all the drivers, like, we didn't know why there was a red light. There was nothing. You can't see off the top of the track. It's that far down. Moved the tyre barrier 11 meters, and it just. I was lucky enough. I think natural instincts of not wanting to hit the tyre barrier front on. I just turned hard, like I had to go right around a car, like.
So you're on the right-hand side.
I'm on the left-hand side.
Oh, the left-hand
car.
Yep, and then there's a car
The
obviously
car
in front of
me
you.
in the braking zone.
So
and I just moved hard right
to miss
dodge
him. Yep.
Looking back at it now, it would have been cheaper if I just hit him and paid for both our crashes.
But you don't think
No, you don't think like that. Your natural instincts to go dodge
away,
everything. So
yeah.
I turned hard right. And
So
got
there was
over the
no
hill.
pedal?
Nothing. It just fell. So at turn 3, it was literally wherever we go is like probably in the top 3 of biggest brake pressure in a TA2.
Yeah, turn 3.
Turn 3.
100%.
Sharp right hand.
QR.
Yeah.
So, and then the next corner, it was nothing. Like just nothing. Not even like
That's insane.
Nothing at all.
couldn't even pump it. Yeah, so I just pushed all the fluid out. What happened is a caliper bolt came out and it dropped on the rotor and got hot and wore holes in sort of everything. And then, just push it. It was nothing. Not even like if I pumped it, it got slower.
So you've pivoted to the right.
Pivot to the right, jump that sort of exit curb because QR's got the few configuration tracks.
Yeah.
So jump that outside curb and sort of seeing the tyre barrier and just instincts would just try and not go in head first. So I just turned hard left and just literally perfectly backed it into the tyre barrier. And it was such a hard hit. Like the tyre barrier has slowed me down. It moved them 11 metres. But even still, like all the...
What speed were you doing?
220 when we left the track, and it was it would have been up. Well, it didn't slow down much. I know that much.
180 something. Yeah.
Do
you know what G impact?
Yeah, only like 4.5. It wasn't huge, but it's still enough to knock the wind out.
Yeah, massive still. Yeah.
And just because how like I was just on the pedals so hard, my feet were all bruised. I was struggling because I was like, you can see in the footage, I was like double foot in the brake pedal. I was just bracing. Really big impact. And because of those cars are just a fiberglass shell and it hit it perfectly square at the back, it literally just pushed the roof and everything, windows, everything over the front of the bonnet. So it was quite an impact, and believe it or not, it was just all nearly fiberglass.
I can't recall QR, like, does it, so it goes down and then back up and the tyre barriers?
So it's just down to the tyre barrier.
Oh, okay.
You don't notice
the
it
big
unless you
dam.
really
You know the big dam in the middle?
That's where...
So it sort of goes down with the dam and then back up to sort of 2 and 3.
Right.
1 and 2, sorry.
Do they do that on purpose so you can't like drive all the way into turn 2? Well,
the
head on.
The dip is natural because of the dam and everything.
Right.
But the tyre barrier, I would assume, is there so you can't clean up someone coming through turn 1.
Yeah, that would be a hell of an impact.
Yeah, because if
like Phillip Island.
Yeah.
Turn 1 and turn 2 or 3.
That's right. The dip's not big enough to stop the car. So if there had been someone at turn 1, 2.
Yeah, right. You would have made it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Hell of a crash.
That's a nasty one. So I guess...
Have you got the footage? Can we bring that up?
I can get it.
No, we'll send it and we'll put it up on the...
We'll put it up on the video.
That's massive.
So that's fine. And speaking of crashes, what happened to you in Hazelwood? You had a bingle too with the SAO Icon. What was that all about?
I was just... Me and Toddy just racing.
He's downplaying it a little bit here, isn't he?
Nah, so it was my first race with Hi-Tec Oils. So brand new car. George's first, he sponsored the series and everything. First huge investment, brand new car. Obviously had other investments. Big investment in me and TA2. And race 1, we had a steering rack failure. So it was on the back foot straight away. And back last year, it was drop a race, not a round.
Right.
So it was dropped 1 race. I was sort of like, oh, this is good. There's my first one gone. It was 26 cars and we drove back to 4th in 1 race. And then the next race went 4th to 2nd. And Hazelwood had dramas as well in the prior race. So he had to start at the back. We had a safety. It was just me and Josh Haynes racing. No worries at all. At the last race of the weekend, 2 20-year-olds just, having a good old battle. And the safety car caught us all up. And I remember seeing Todd, and he was miles faster than me, similar pace to Josh. And I remember saying to Tim Brook at the time, was my engineer, I remember saying, I was like, what are we going to do here? Like, we had really good tyres because we DNF'd the race and kept 2 tyres. The way the tyres work, you can manage it a lot. So I was like, what are we going to do here? And he just said, back yourself in, mate. Like, you got this. Just drive it. So we did, and I was doing really well. And in fairness, looking back at it now, obviously I was angry at the time, but I think I probably ran a little bit wide at the last corner and came back, and he sort of locked it up on the nose. And
yeah, you backed yourself in like you did at QR, didn't you?
Yeah, good on you. Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, it was definitely like he definitely got into me, but I think it was more the aftermath of the crash. I got T-boned, someone went to hospital, 3 cars got pretty torn up.
I don't know, was that bad?
Where was this at?
Sydney.
Sydney, right.
So I think like, and I'm not backpedaling at all. Like, obviously I wasn't happy. I feel like I got spun out and everything, but I think the aftermath of the crash,
made it worse,
me and Todd and Josh were that far in front. If he had spun me out and old mate didn't come hit me, we would have drove off and got second and third.
No, 100%.
So the aftermath sort of, and still now looking back at it, the car got destroyed, the brand new car. So that was more it. But to me and Todd, racing wise, you know, it would have just been a classic. I've spun people out, spin them out all the time. So to Todd, it's not a huge worry. Looking back at it now, it's just a racing incident.
It's good to have someone like Todd in the category, and it's just some great battles,
that's the
you
thing
know.
For me and Josh look back at that now and go, we were 20. He'd just won Bathurst. And, you know,
this was last year.
You're racing against a Bathurst.
So you crashed out, like you got hit. And
and he also, his right front fell out. So it was all like, and we spoke afterwards. There was no heated exchange. It was just, it's one of those things.
When you got out the car, this is one of my things I was going to we'll segue into it. When you got out the car and the officials came over, did they put your hands? You know how they always sort of touch you?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pet.
Like, get off me, you dog.
Because you're pissed off.
Yeah, well, this one's a funny one actually because Mark Crutcher, who now owns the series, so I'm pretty hot-headed sort of operator, which I hate. Like, I've tried to change. When I used to play footy back in my younger days, like I'd get yellow carded nearly every game. But
they got yellow cards in football or soccer.
Nah, like AFL rules.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I didn't even realise they had that yellow, red card. Red
Well,
cards?
they did when I walked on the field anyway. But, so I'd always be sort of quite an angry operator, which I try now. I sort of feel like I got out of me as I'm mature.
Still angry?
Yeah, I'm not too bad now. We'll see next crash. But I heard Mark Crutcher, like my intent was definitely to get out and go. Like, Todd to me was...
Oh, so you're both out. Like, Todd was off the track?
We're all crashed, and so we're all parked up.
Right, okay.
The broadcast got shut down and everything because Mark Crutcher hurt his back.
Yeah, right. Fuck, they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, so he hurt his back, and he was... I could hear him from my car with my helmet on, everything, screaming. So... it was really
hectic. So you could hear him. How far away was he?
So I was spun out, and he T-boned me, and he rolled off behind me. His car was right behind me, and I was looking at Todd climbing out of his car. So Todd was climbing out of his car, and to be honest with you, like, it burst my all my fire extinguisher. Like, it was like really messy, and I didn't really have any intention. I didn't want to get out of my car. I wasn't on fire or anything. Until I heard Crutcher crying. You can see in my onboard footage, there was no intentions. Me and Todd actually we helped Crutcher get out of the car. Like, we dragged him out together, you know, like, there was no point in arguing or anything then. So it was actually good. That calmed it down a lot. And
is he all right now?
Yeah, he's fine.
So you were going to punch him out?
No.
But then
it was actually, and we spoke like that, like, we literally walked up and Todd put his hand on my back and was like, mate, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And I said to him, I was like, don't worry about it. Like, we've got a guy, you know, hurt right now.
Let's fix.
Let's
get him out.
And that's the thing with racing. You realise that there's a lot more to, like, racing against each other.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you see someone hurt like that.
Yeah,
you guys came together to look after.
It was good that me and Todd did, you know, and still have never had an issue with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I don't want to drag on for back crashes, but I have to bring this one up. And Adrian, you remember this crash?
Yeah.
Adelaide 500. Yeah. We were all there. We were there as support category.
Right.
Remember the oil spill?
Yeah.
Brad, I'll let you... That was a big one, mate.
That's a big crash.
And that was so unfortunate for you because this is one that you couldn't avoid it. And if
No,
you
I couldn't avoid it.
Where were you sitting? What? Because our paddock was
You were
right.
there. You were right
our
there.
paddock was
Yeah.
right there. We heard this.
Yeah.
Smash,
I heard a
smash,
bang, bang, bang.
It was a big crash. Like
It was
I
crazy.
reckon 4 cars nearly completely written off.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
So I was me and Tim Brook. It was my first ever Trans Am round, so I was on the back foot sort of. I think we're running like maybe 9th, which is pretty decent. It's good field.
Yeah.
Tim Brook was in front of me, and he was my teammate that weekend, and that whole year he'd engineered me. And yeah, we're coming around 11 and started seeing smoke from him, and it's like, oh yeah, here's what it is. And Jordan Boys had just passed me throughout the lap, and I'd have seen Tim fly off the track at a million mile an hour, and you're right behind him going sort of 130. And Boise just hit him, and I hit the oil, and the onboard footage will get a clip up, but it was just like a plane crash. Like I've never seen anything like it.
The cars went flying.
Still, when I look at
was
it,
insane.
like it's just scary footage.
What
Like,
did it feel like? You just felt nothing.
I just like even in the footage, you see the wheel just like you just turn hard left lock, and you're just sliding, and it just concrete wall is like a meter after the tie barrier, which the crash was that big. Tie barrier wouldn't have done much else, but yeah, concrete cars, and then if you look at Brooksy's footage, he sort of spins out, slams up against the concrete wall, and you just see me and Boise just come in so hard, and panels and stuff just fly everywhere.
Was anybody hurt from that one? Because that's a really scary one.
No one was like really hurt. Everyone
Wow.
was pretty banged up. But yeah, like my car was a complete write-off.
Is it?
And yeah, doesn't matter who it was, but there was someone that came in. We timed it, like Garnett was helped me out that weekend, and we timed, it was like 38 seconds. Oil flags and everything were out. Someone else came and cleaned us up.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
So would it be visible that there's oil on track?
Not like, yes, you can if you're really looking at. Have you ever hit oil?
No. I have the flag marshals. Is that something
The
like
thing
that?
is, there was my other teammate that weekend, Jason Pride. Like he came in and he knew it was under safety car. It wasn't red flagged yet, but he even hit the oil and he slid off. And you can see in the broadcast that he slid off and parked next to me. That's how slow he was going. Yeah. But then this other car came in at race pace and just hit it and crashed like we did, but 30 seconds later.
Yeah, that was a scare one. And I just want to bring back about oil being on track. I would know all about it because I did practice day at the Bend. The sump plug came out, and I had all everyone behind me.
That's why you don't work on your cars anymore.
So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
but just to touch on that,
Lisa
crash,
would be a better mechanic than you, I reckon. What do you think?
let's let Brad talk for a bit. I don't want to bring it up.
just on that crash. It's funny, like as you know, I spoke to Asher Johnson today, and I told him I was coming on this podcast, and it was interesting what he spoke about with his Perth incident.
Yeah.
When he was about to jump out the car. So when my car was steaming and everything in Adelaide, I switched all my ignition off, so all my footage got cut, which is unfortunate. I don't know if I'd want to watch it anyway. But Brooksy was facing the other way, and he flicked all his switches off, and sort of went for his belts, opened the door, dropped the net, like everything. You watch everything, and he heard tires screeching, and no shit, like you can see it in the footage. He braced, like
he had the belts off.
No, his belts were on.
Okay.
But you could see him,
no.
the next thing would have probably been his belts done, door, net, everything. And he went like that. And you can hear me get cleaned up in the background. And Brooksy's footage, I was saying to the boys, like Garnett was yelling at me in the ear because he could hear this car coming and see it coming.
Stay in.
He's like, just stay in the car. And you can't see my footage, but it was the same. I'd net, door, everything was open.
Well,
everything but me was out of the car.
This comes back to the engineer or the guy on the radio to that other car needs to hold his head in shame. I don't know who it is. We don't need to throw him. That guy needed to tell that guy, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow the fuck down. We've got 7 cars in the wall. There's all over the track. Walking pace.
You're not going to make it.
Just go slow.
Yeah. His car was wrecked as well after that. And like the thing is, myself and who else was involved in that crash would have had no argument. You're not allowed to get out of your car without a marshal anyway. But
I know.
I'm talking 38 seconds. Like
that's
a long
massive.
time sitting in a race car that's steaming.
And as a driver, if you don't have that communication as such, you might get your car naturally and think, safety car.
There's a lot of Garnett's voice. Like you could hear it, and he's like, "Stay in the car," and once he's seen it happening, I just remember him being like, "Oh no," and I just felt like it, and that wrote my car off. The front would have done.
Oh,
a front
right.
flip.
So it wasn't that bad.
It was definitely not going to race that weekend.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to race for quite some
But it
time.
wasn't-
But it would have been a front
okay.
clip, maybe. Like, and you could see in the broadcast, the back of the car hadn't been touched. It was fine. The bonnet and obviously the front of the car was destroyed. But yeah, he came in and it
it's
destroyed the
horrible.
diff, gearbox, everything.
So what do you think of the Trans Am, the crash fest at Darwin? That wasn't a good
I
look for
spoke
the
to
series,
some
really,
people.
was it? Like,
It doesn't look great, but you read the Facebook comments and everything. It's like everyone
Entertainment.
loves it.
yeah,
it's
that's true. That's
entertainment.
true.
Yeah.
But they just didn't get a lot of racing.
No, I think if you were up there and done the maths, the green flag laps would be very nice.
Well, if you were a racer and you spent all that money.
No, correct. But watching it, and everyone thinks it's awesome, but it's probably, not directing this at the series, more so the fans. You don't want to know Trans Am as the cars that crash.
Yeah.
And the drivers certainly don't want to know the
No.
cars, But in saying that, the guys at the front, and the Hazelwood Nash Morris, when they went off track together, like that's super, that happens in anything. That's cool. That's two guys racing really hard.
It's more so the non-green flag laps.
Correct.
Is what
Yeah,
hurts.
100%. If I was watching that,
Wasn't a good
I was
ride.
watching that, and I was like, glad I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty of times, as we just spoke about, I have been there, and it's not nice. So
No. So, all right, we'll move on to some of the random comments of the the episode. What have we got here? This Speedway crash that we've got pulled up. This dude, you can probably see here, Brad, and you can see as well, Dusty, that this dude got a massive rock or a part of a car that went through his visor into his head, and he nearly killed himself. Like,
is that in America?
What I
it's-
don't understand is is this wingless or sprint cars?
it'd be
or-
something sprint car.
Don't they have a
related.
big mesh over
No.
the?
Not
Over
all,
there,
so
it's not
America.
mandatory.
Exactly. So in Australia, it's mandatory.
it might
in
be
America.
now. How old's that?
That
No, this was last
this has got to be mandatory.
I
'cause
remember
for that to
happening-
happen.
No. In America, you don't have to run
Yeah,
it.
I remember Brian Brown had a rock, something similar, not that bad, but a black eye. Yeah.
Pretty ordinary.
Mate, that's horrible. You
Yeah.
think about the visor is obviously the weakest part of the helmet.
Well,
that is
yeah.
almost catastrophic.
well, that's what
you know?
happened with was it Rubens Barrichello?
Yeah, no,
Massa.
Felipe Massa in Hungary had a spring.
Are you hungry?
That came through.
It was a little spring.
Little spring from
Yeah.
a car, from a Braun car, and he was out of racing for a couple of weeks.
Because that's why the Formula Ones, they've got those small,
Yeah, very small bike.
little.
Or-
Also the extra, which they don't have anymore. IndyCar had them, like
Yeah.
the small visor, the
Yeah.
extra.
I didn't
thing
know
on
about
top?
that F1, the open wheel visor thing until Will Brown went over to race CT Frock and had to use Liam Lawson's helmet because his visor was too big.
It's a
Like
different
Wow.
aperture.
I didn't know
It's a
that.
different
Yeah.
aperture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just goes, I mean, hopefully this guy's okay, but it seems like they need to put a mesh over these cars because that's scary.
Yeah, that's what.
seeing
Like
that
when
accident.
I raced the 410 sprint car, you had to have a mesh on there. But America, they're a bit rednecks with paychecks over there, and it's do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it
it's
bites
But
in.
even in Australia, like it's a good lesson. I remember this person in Speedway, and you'd know this. Like you roll out in Speedway, and you do your formation laps, and you give it a rev and everything. A lot of people run with their visors up on the formation laps. Something, the rock or something flies in there. The rock screen's not stopping that.
No, little ones
Yeah.
aren't going to stop. The
Yeah.
big stuff like this will stop it,
100%,
but
yeah.
the little ones, you have to be careful. And you get something
Yeah.
in your eye, and you're blinking and
Yeah.
watering in your
Yeah.
eye. It's pretty ordinary.
Now, we've also heard that TCR's had a bit of an issue again with their
the last nail
Perth
in
was
the coffin.
cancelled.
So the last nail in the
They're meant to
coffin.
race at the Bend, which I think is going to
No, no, no,
happen.
I
because
think
that's
that
not-
one will happen.
It's why do you think TCR is dying?
Too many categories, but it's just not a popular one. I mean,
It's the
Yeah.
philosophy of Australian culture.
have you raced a TCR before?
No,
Or
I
tested?
haven't. But you can just see.
Front wheel drives once
Yeah,
again.
but
Like,
you can just see from the outside, like that was on the same card as Trans Am. Like
but the
last couple
Trans
of
Am's
days.
getting a blast now, or TA2 or Trans Am.
Yeah.
Oh, Trans Am. Hang on. Like, it's not Trans Am's fault for moving or TA2's fault for moving that round. It's TCR. You can't expect Trans Am or TA2 to take all of that costing to run
No.
that event. So that's why they've had to move to Winton.
Correct.
Winton.
No, they've moved to Sandown from Winton.
Sandown. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
TCR, last nail, it's done.
It's probably the case, but we'll see how the
I
bend
think we'll
round
see him
goes.
at the bend because that's the big.
That's the
That's a
world
big
thing.
one.
Yeah, the
That's
world.
we get people from international drivers and all that stuff. But
whether that kickstarts something maybe. But
I think you won't see. Will you see S5000 back? I don't think
well,
so.
they just had
Will
another
you see
issue where they're trying to
TCR?
sell the cars
For sale.
S5000.
No, that's AU4.
AU4's even finished for the
But what's happening with the S5000 cars? Aren't they trying to sell them?
trying to sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why? But everyone's like, well, we've already got Australian Drivers' Championship, the hyper races and stuff. So
But
what's
no
the
one
point
wants to
of
give that any
No one's giving-
connotation.
giving- no one's
that's
giving that any
frustrating.
No one's really even classing that as an open wheel.
which is actually really shocking, isn't it?
It is, but and this isn't against them at all, but you do see AU4 S5000. They look like an
Yeah,
F1 or
I hear
an
what you're
CT,
saying.
CT Frock.
Yeah.
all those like they all look like the same car.
So you reckon it's a
Hypers-
look thing?
The hypers don't even
They look.
look like an.
Oh, you got a good point.
Like an S5000. You look CT Frog AU4 S5000.
It's an open wheeler.
Older model F1s and everything. They all look similar. Like they all got
Got a
the
good point.
halos, everything. Like these don't even
Formula
look,
One, smaller.
Yeah.
Whereas the hypers
Yeah.
don't look like a
They don't even
Formula
have-
3, Formula
But
2.
it's a cool car still.
Oh, that's not
what
what we're talking about. We're saying the look of it.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
Unfortunately, whether it just hasn't got traction yet.
I think it's more AASA, like the media
Don't,
outlets.
don't.
No.
No,
What I'm saying is Motorsport Australia and Speed Cafe, all these other outlets, they don't assign themselves with AASA. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
no, I'm not
really
sure.
don't.
It's just all
get it.
competition. But, the best way to make hyper races good is to get me in the seat and, someone get me in for a test day.
You drive
and,
a street stop
and-
first, and then we'll come back.
I don't think you're about to handle one.
A street stop.
No way.
Well, as actually
He's-
something-
he's
seen him
no,
I've
he's
seen him
driving.
drive an
I'm
Excel.
actually going to be driving a street stop later.
I gotta give him
Are
some
you
fire
going?
racing.
Are you both going to Brad Vaughan's 21st?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you coming?
Oh,
Are you
I'm
coming?
so adoring, Matt.
Are you,
coming?
are you coming?
100%.
Oh, we got two cars.
Are
me
you
and
driving?
Ruben.
Yeah.
Wait, have you got a paddock bash car?
We're in.
That's all I do on the farm, mate.
All right.
Wait, are you
perfect.
actually coming?
Yes.
All right. Me and Ruben Goodall just.
Have you seen the cars outside?
Yeah.
Yes, I've
So
seen- mate, they look like they're ready for a graveyard.
We're ready to go. We're ready to rumble.
I didn't
car
even
you
look
got?
at the Facebook. That's for me to know and you to find
he's
out.
got a
mate.
V8.
He's got
I'm
something
doing the
front wheel
whole
drive.
McLaren thing too. I got razors on my front bumper. You come near me, you're done.
Nah, I'm taking them off, mate. You're not.
I got
doing
a ball,
dodgy
but
shit.
I got a tow bar in the back. So don't come near me, mate.
I'm gonna flash you. with this one.
And I got a new Lancer, so I've got rid of my old Magna, got something a bit lighter and a 4-cylinder hot pocket rocket. Doing a new livery this week, and this is the biggest event of the year.
The
Are you going
Hands
to do
down.
the bonnet like you did last year?
I've got something worse.
Worse.
Yeah, so stay tuned. My Magna had like LEG on it and all that stuff, but there's a best livery award.
When are we bringing the LEG out to do the podcast?
He's be here soon. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
we'll get
tonight.
him out. Not
Not
tonight. No.
No.
But that'll
be
be a cool event coming up. So a bit of a private one for us, but
Yeah.
thanks to Brad Vaughan for putting that on.
Yeah, cheers, Brad.
Yeah.
So what else have we got here? Apogee 333. It's on the mend. Scotty sort of said that 80% finished on that. They managed to salvage the chassis.
we spoke about
Is
last.
that when bloody Rossi Johnson turned down on Paul? Is that the one?
Oh, turned
Nah,
down. So that's here we go.
I love you, Rossi.
No. It's that was a hard one, but a lot of damage. But they've been able to manage to fix the chassis, so that's good.
It's I saw the car last week, and I mean, it looks great for what
Yeah.
they've done to it. But Rossi should be driving next round.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully
sounds
he's a great guy. And
Great
does
guy.
so well with everything he does. So hopefully he gets out there.
He's got a lot of
stuff.
support. I think a lot of people are just
Yeah.
coming on board because they want to see a young gun.
There's not a lot of Darwin drivers
Nah.
apart from forward. Who else is there?
Yeah, no, not sure.
I didn't even know Ford was from Darwin. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. That's really cool. But yeah, it's good to see him come back out. So.
Another weird one here. Oscar Lando. You see that crash?
Yeah,
at Canada.
Obviously,
What are you-
I'm biased here, but that's all on Lando.
You know who came out and
Yeah.
said that it was a bit on Oscar?
Who?
Is that Jack Villeneuve?
Jack Villeneuve.
has
Are you
He
serious?
has some controversial comments though. He
Does he
always
just
get.
purposely say
He
shit
always
that's not
says
right?
the wrong. He always says his own opinion, and it's the weirdest shit. He's always in the
This is
spot.
going to sound bad. I don't even know who you're talking about.
So Jack Villeneuve is a Formula One world champion,
So
and he
his-
raced in the
there you
supercars.
go.
His father raced, and then he was a Formula One
He raced in
driver.
the
for
Supercars.
I seen
he?
something quite
Yeah.
interesting the other day. How obviously Formula One, Lando, Lewis, George, and so many of the broadcasters that are the British,
English, yeah.
Yeah.
or English, whatever. But they would the press have reacted so calmly if it was the other way around.
Is there bias for being British? Absolutely.
100% there is.
Has
And that's
to
the
be.
thing, like, it was so downplayed. It was like, no, Lando's admitted that it was his fault.
It's
If
all good.
Oscar
It's all
had
good.
done that.
Oh, what's he
Yeah.
doing? He's lost the plot.
That bloody
You know?
Australian,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, that's great. But it's just what I'm most excited about. We just had Canada F1, and we'll go more into that soon. But what are your thoughts on the F1 movie? You guys keen to see it? It's coming out this week.
Well, you've got a double date going on, and you didn't invite me, mate. What's going on?
You'll be
here?
coming to my double.
So that's a triple date.
Triple date.
Okay,
F1
so
movie-
Sunday.
F1 movie's out. Have you seen anything on it? It looks really like I'm excited as a fan. People were like, "Oh, but it doesn't look
Yeah.
realistic. It doesn't look like this isn't. This is just for entertainment." Yes, it is for entertainment.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
Isn't
Like,
that exciting?
Yeah.
Isn't
I think
that-
it's good that we got something different.
Well, we've had the Drive to Survive, and we still have that. I reckon a movie is this
Mate,
next.
I'll
They're
I'll tell you
trying to
this,
capitalise.
They're
nothing
capitalising
against-
massively.
Nothing against F1, but just get off F1. NASCAR's the go.
Oh,
Full stop.
no, I've said this.
Have
a
you
million-
watched-
No,
have
I've
you
been
watched
saying,
Full Speed?
100%
Like,
way better.
If you watch Full Speed, it's not fake. Those guys are proper Americans racing, like, just
Couldn't
proper.
agree
I
more.
need to watch that.
Couldn't
I didn't
agree
even
more.
know that existed.
The
Dude.
fact that people love F1 so much, and I watch Full Speed, it annoys me they only put out 4 episodes a year, but it is just so
Couldn't agree more.
Like,
Like
and-
NASCAR
I didn't even know that existed.
shits on Formula
Yeah,
One. The
100%.
storylines, 40
Everyone's like,
cars, like,
oh, it's just they're driving around.
nah, they got to learn.
But that's the old stereotype rubbish. I hate
Mate,
that. That's just,
NASCAR
that's
is the
just
coolest
shit.
thing ever. I love NASCAR.
You wait.
Every Monday
Let's do a
morning-
trip next year.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So,
Done.
you coming?
Oh, can I come?
You didn't
don't
invite
like
me
them,
to Formula One. Nah. NASCAR is just every week they're racing.
So
There's
underrated.
storylines. It's just
It's cool.
There's
Proper
there's
cool.
strategy like
Yeah.
pit stops, take 2
And then
tires.
you look at it like everyone's like, oh, they just drive around in circles. Chase Elliott, the last 5 races, has finished in the top 20, still in the playoffs, in the bubble, I believe. And then you look at Shane Van Gisbergen, he gets a win. If
Do
it
you
wasn't,
agree with that?
Oh, look, I find it hard. I know this is a pretty hot topic at the moment. Why are supercars not talking about the bubble?
They did though at
They
Darwin.
have, they
I
have.
think because some people have
Yeah,
tried to
they-
highlight it that they're not talking
But
about.
they go on about, oh, Brock Fanny's championship leader.
Kai Allen's never raced here 75 times. Like they brought up.
But why does it matter that Brock's championship leader? If he blows a tire in Adelaide, mate, he's done.
Yeah.
Like, it's got nothing to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
He's in.
Yeah, but that's it. Like
Why talk about it?
right
Yeah,
now,
okay.
you watch NASCAR broadcasters, they're like, oh, Danny Hamlin's right there, but who cares? If he crashes, it does not affect his championship.
So do you agree with the win and you're in?
Yeah, I think it's cool. It gives desperation.
I think because it works well because they've got 40 drivers,
Yeah.
whereas us, we've got 24.
But it's always.
Do you know what I
in
mean?
there,
Do you hear what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but
Like-
over there, you could be 20th on the last lap and win. But here, yes, we've had a lot of different, and Scaife in that, love talking about it. We've had a couple of different winners this year, but it's still not, they get 16 spots in their playoffs and 11 of them are filled up
With
already
winners.
with winners. Like here, we got 4 people that win.
Yeah, I think
That's probably the only thing.
Yeah, that's true. There's only 10 that go through though, isn't it?
Correct. So it's watered down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really got a stance on it yet, but
Yeah.
it's cool to see Shane in the chase, but
Yeah.
you really have to wonder he's not going to do much in the chase
Yeah.
because
No,
he's
well,
just not there
If
on
he
the
can make
ovals.
it to the second or third playoff where they have the road.
Yeah,
course.
then he
Road
might be-
courses are his strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But,
Like, I've seen
but if you look
someone-
at the trend of his start of the year in Cups,
Oh, he's getting way better.
he's
yeah.
getting better.
Yeah.
So
and I've seen some press take the piss out of him saying, "Oh, he can only win on roads," and he responded with, "My job here is literally to make the playoffs. Like that's all that matters. Like he
Yeah.
made the playoffs now. Like,
Yeah.
And
there you go.
doesn't matter.
Win-win.
Well, got on NASCAR. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but on NASCAR, we've got obviously Cam Waters in the trucks this weekend, and Will Brown.
and
Will
then-
Brown.
In the cup. Is he
And
Cups or Xfinity?
His cup.
There's also another driver, Jack Perkins.
I don't think he's
No,
this
that's-
weekend.
That's the
doing-
Poland.
Okay.
It's later on.
So that's-
But isn't there someone at Chicago in an Xfinity? Is it not Brock or Brody? No, I thought someone was in.
I don't think Brody's doing, but I don't know about that one. But I do know that we've got 2 Aussies.
Yeah.
And also,
This
we've
weekend,
also
so.
got who's the NASCAR driver that's cancelled on doing the 500?
Larson.
Larson, yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that does
just
suck.
don't know if I don't know if his management team sort of said, don't do it.
It was directly after Indy and like when he done the double.
He didn't do that well doing the Indy and NASCAR.
And whether that's got something to do with it. But
possibly.
it was funny because Jason, if he had been down, like obviously he's coming, well, whether it's announced or not, I'm pretty sure he would come back again for high limit.
Exclusive news
No,
here.
no, I'm not saying that. He just won high limit. So I would assume he's coming back with Jason Pride. Jason Pride has some of the best gear in Australia.
So he'd race Trans Am, you're thinking?
Well, I don't believe he'd race Trans Am. It'd be cool to see him at the sprint car in the city.
Stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the job he done at high limit was unreal. And I know for a fact, well, they reached out to Jason because of the gear that Jason runs is second to none.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have such a world-class driver and a team down here be recognised.
Well, I think that was the whole draw card, was him to race in the sprint cars and supercars as well. But
I know last year they had the Rick Hendrick cars had like a 40th or 60th anniversary dinner that year.
Yeah, wow. Well, moving on, we've got Off the Turf Clips of the Week brought to you by Borman Turf. So this is my fun segment. We've got some clips from that I love, that you love. Okay, so this is
what is this?
I just want to express my love for how many XLs can race at Bathurst.
I already know Matt
there's
Totani's
Shane
going to cause a
Nowicki.
shunt here.
So that's the start of the grid. Wait till we see Matt Totani. Are you still waiting? Because I am. This is a 64-car grid at
64 cars.
64 cars.
No,
of course,
it's not.
that's why we're under safety car for most of the racing. Just wait. Where's Matt Totani? He's still not there. Is that him? There he is.
Where are you?
Right there, the blue
Here he
car.
is.
There we go. But look at it.
Qualified pretty well,
I qualified well, even though I'm like in 34th. There's 64 cars lined
Why
up.
don't they do this more?
Because these drivers...
Because it's under safety car.
Why is this not Super 2?
This
like
is Super 2.
in terms of like, why doesn't Supercars
It just keeps going. It just keeps going. Like, that's how insane Bathurst is.
You wouldn't be too
with
happy, like, if you were starting that direct
look, here we go.
car,
Look at the TV time. This guy's getting... Oh, that's Max Gagan in last. That is Max Gagan.
Look at the stoppages. What's going on here?
Oh, everyone's brake checking each other because...
Mate, that's
That's great.
downshift to get up, buddy.
So that's I remember Max
away.
Gagan, that was one of his first Excel races, and I got absolutely slammed by him. He was so quick.
You've beat
And
me,
now-
Dusty, because
beat
that's
you. But
I've done a 44 car field in an Aussie racing car at Phillip Island.
Yeah, that's decent.
But this
insane.
is big.
They've done it the last 7 years, I think, and Ash has won a couple of these, but this is the peak of what they get to do on the 6-hour grid. But good experience, and for anyone that, on a low budget, that's what you want to aim for. But I just can't believe how many XLs they can get in one grid. That's ridiculous.
It's just price.
When the Bathurst 6-hour had 72 cars.
They have to be running out.
Now
So what's this one? So you pulled this one up,
This is
Dusty.
now Nürburgring 24
I haven't seen
hour.
this one.
Watch this. Look at the Porsche. He's overtaking
Was
a
this
lap
last
car.
week?
Watch this. He's overtaking a lap car. This is the leader of the race.
No.
And this he was leading the race.
Was that like a GT4 or something?
That's GT4. So that Porsche was leading the race, EMA, for 22 hours. That cost him the win
Because he spun that car out.
because he spun
And
that
it was
car
a-
out.
it
He
was a
still
lap
came
car.
back in first, but he got a 1.5-minute penalty.
Oh, so he came back and won it.
Well, he won the race, but he got a 1.5-minute time penalty.
But that
Lost
car
it.
he was passing was a lap car.
Lap car. Correct. So
That's-
that's
Who rolled it? Is that him?
That's the Aston Martin.
The one
So-
that he hit.
So the EMA Porsche was leading for all that time and look at this. So the thing that people don't understand about Nürburgring 24 hour is it's the job of the car that wants to pass to get past him.
Really?
The lap cars can stay on their racing line.
There's no blue flags.
No.
Yeah, but he's got
Well, it's
half
blue
the car
flags.
overlap.
But
Hang
you
on,
need
hang
to
on.
time.
Start again?
Pause the video.
No.
In the Nürburgring 24 hour,
Stop yelling at
it's
us.
your job to pass the car you're passing. They don't have to get off their racing line.
So there's no blue flags.
So there is blue flags.
So what's the blue flag
but it's
for?
your job to get past them.
What's the point of blue flags?
I'm lost here.
Because they need to be aware there's a faster car coming still.
Why?
Because that's... Well, I don't know. don't drag, but that's the rule, right? You can double check me on that
So
if you guys
okay,
want.
so you can block?
No, you can't block.
Okay.
But he's
you can
literally
stick
half,
to your...
he's half a car length up. You can't do
The
that.
problem is it's unfortunate because after all that hard work, it's just gone for
Hang
a
on,
bad
I wanna
spot
go
to
back on
overtake.
what we're
He thought
saying
there was a
here.
gap.
So you confirmed this. Those Porsches are quick,
You
aren't
need to
they?
get
He was there.
through.
He was there.
He
He
was
showed
there.
his nose.
And they still gave him a penalty.
I get what you're saying about.
Look, he's there, man.
You have to remember, this race goes into the night. This is 24 hours. Pitch black.
Although
But
he
it's a
didn't
fu-
have his full nose in, did he?
Unfortunately, the Aston Martin just didn't see him. There's some crazy. This category. So Nürburgring 24-hour has
He's missed the apex if he hasn't seen
There's
it.
20 different classes in this race. There's a TCR class. There's like a Dacia
Oh, so the Australian
Sandero.
cars are over there now.
Yeah. So there's multiple classes in this, but this is one of the best races of
Is
the
there
year.
utes in there?
There could be if you want it to be, but I think this is one of the best races of the year. But M4 GT3
Did
car
you watch
won
the
it.
full?
No, but I watched a lot of. My sister was there as well.
He seems like the sort of guy that would.
I just think
Well,
this
mate,
is,
Biscuits would've.
this is
He
one of the
would've.
best races of the year. This is amazing. And
So was this the week after
This was last weekend.
the Le Mans?
Yeah.
Was some of the same no Le Mans cars with this?
I think a couple, but not many. I don't know why they have it so close together. I was going to say it actually would affect quite a lot of teams. But
Well,
yeah.
you're right, because this is in Germany.
Yeah.
And then where's
the race is in France. For Le Mans.
I guess
But-
it's close.
Yeah, but you just see some of the fans, like there's just full on party buses, full on like
Yeah, I was
disco
thinking something
DJ.
Lisa put up.
Like,
It's
yeah.
Bathurst on steroids.
It's Bathurst on steroids.
Yeah.
This 24-hour. So an event.
It's good fun. We love these.
I'd
We
rather-
love these clips, don't we?
So next up is
I don't even know what this one is. This is BMW loses the
oh,
plot.
I've seen this one. So watch this. This is into an audience. This one's scary. So watch this. Into the crowd.
Far.
Well, that's not good.
Dude.
How bad's that?
So who
It's not
was
funny.
driving that?
So this is just a regular event at a drag strip in
Surely
the
you
UK.
will spin. Like you've realised you've just.
Yeah,
Well,
he
he-
knew that a while ago.
This is just a regular bloke who's unfortunately
Dude's updating his TikTok and he's just getting wiped out.
Yeah.
That's
it's meant to be a Mustang, but it's
like
pretty,
at that point, when do you realise?
should the crowd even be there?
Well-
Unfortunately.
I think this is a double ASA. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Nah, come on.
Come on.
So yeah, that's just one of my clips. I just thought,
Double
wow, that's
ISA
pretty
second-
scary.
Double ISA is second to none.
Safety.
So this one, this is a
This
fantastic.
is
clip
my
here.
one. This is my one. So open wheeler, the wheel got caught underneath the car and
decent.
flicked him.
That is scary. No halo.
There's a halo there, isn't there? There's a
Yeah,
halo.
it's a halo,
Yeah.
Matt. Come on.
You got
Yeah, it's a
eyes?
big shot, isn't it?
So it was weird if you. That's a US. Oh, so that's like a IndyCar.
What are your thoughts
next.
on that, Brad Gartner?
See that? They bounced him.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's horrible.
It's not great.
Is the driver okay?
I think so. We don't check those sorts of things on.
Yeah,
Hit
it's
the
all
Wheel
AI
podcast.
generated,
Yeah.
mate. Now, what's the next clip,
So
mate?
this one here is back in the, I don't know, 80s or
Is
something.
this my clip?
This one I put up. So this is
Oh,
how
this is
you-
I
Sandown.
literally watched this today.
Did you? Yeah. Okay. So you know what this is about. So this one here, Dusty, is
Did he shatter his windscreen?
yeah. So they wash their car, the windscreen, and they throw a bucket of water, and he smashed the windscreen, dude.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, that's gone horribly wrong.
Like that is stupid.
I'm surprised it does that much damage.
Well,
I wouldn't expect.
I don't know,
I guess
maybe
I guess
it's
a bucket of water. But what are these cars in here? There's a bunch of random cars.
No, that's all
They're all they're
supercars.
Group A cars.
Pretty sure.
There's like, it's like an
Supercars back in the.
No, there's like an
behind
R30.
him, yeah.
Yeah,
What was it? Sorry.
like an R31 Skyline or something. So that just goes to show: don't throw a bucket of water to clean a windscreen.
I wonder
And-
if Perspex is if that's glass.
And
Maybe
these are
that-
production cars. So how come they don't have in their water bottle, their little,
maybe weight.
Window washer.
weight?
window washer.
Carrying weight around for no reason. You got the motor, the squirter, the water.
But that's catastrophic. Like that's gonna look
well,
at this.
funny enough, if
Look
you
at that.
watch this, I'm pretty sure there's some more context with this. I think it's Grice or something.
Oh, that's a big hit.
He actually changed cars. His motor let go. So he went in the pits. They're allowed to get out the car,
Yeah,
get into
yeah.
his teammate's car, Dusty, right?
Yeah.
So he continued the race,
Yeah.
and then this happened. So it was like a double whammy for the team. Correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
mean, you can
but
probably still drive, but it's a bit of a hit.
no, you can't see because it's all
It's all shattered.
Shattered
And
and
it's all
shit.
perspex now, isn't it? Anyway, but
even the Utes we've got perspex. It's just so you don't get glass in your eyes. And the guy that was driving this, who was the Europe?
looks like it was.
European.
So who was it? Grice and
Jones. It says Jones.
Yeah.
Jones.
Alan Jones?
Nah, I'm pretty sure it was
Look at the pit speeds. Is there any pit lane speed in them?
Well, see how they're ripping the windscreen off.
I hope he's got a visor.
Look at him
Oh, he
in
does
there.
have a visor.
Well, Craig Lowndes had this issue.
with the tyre.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
lucky can you get?
And those cars had like a bar in the middle, which is lucky.
Larry bar.
Yeah. The cars don't have that anymore, surprisingly.
Pretty sure they do.
They do in supercars?
I think so. Do you have a bar in the Trans Am? In the middle?
Not there, no.
No.
Rear windscreen out, so then the aero's accurate.
Yeah.
The car would be faster.
Well, he came on the radio, or he came on a video. Yeah, see how he's
Look,
got a...
imagine all the glass that
Well,
would be
he's got a
shattering.
visor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps.
So some supercar guys don't run visor. They run the miniature visors. You imagine if you had glass flicking around
Yeah.
with a miniature visor.
They're on the tools quick, though. They're on the tools. They're straight onto it.
Well, that's a funny one. So we got another one here. One.
That's a scary one. Like, you don't want that to happen. But don't throw a bucket of water. Simple as that. Oh, this one is just to show you guys how crazy the track is at night. Look how this is 24 hour. Look how insane this is. You have to be an absolute star to do this.
It was the lap cars get me.
But
I find
you
it
can't see
fascinating.
anything.
I find it fascinating that people know that track.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Do they?
Oh, mate, they have to. But
We're
that's
racing 24 hours on.
9.1 kilometers.
But or are you going off of
I just think that's amazing.
do people memorize this?
Yeah,
They have to.
You have
Do
to.
they?
Like when
The people that have done laps here have done them billions of times, mate. That
No, I
are the
said to-
professionals.
Or are they going off of like a curve? Oh yeah, that's where we are
you
now.
can't. Like those guys that do it. Who's that guy you guys had at the bend?
That
Misha.
Yeah.
Misha.
He would have to know it.
And
Like,
his
still
job
he
is
does.
Yeah,
to do
you're
hot
right.
laps for YouTube content. And he raced at 24 hour. Like, you can think about it. You can do enough sim laps. You can do enough fun laps. That track is so accessible.
I didn't believe it. And I jumped on the sim with Nathan Hearn one night. We get on the sim quite often. And he's like, let's do Nürburgring. I was like, no one knows that track off by heart. I can't do a lap time. He's like, yeah, I do. I was
What?
like, how?
I
don't even know the
visualise
GT
it.
circuit at the bend, mate.
Yeah.
That's hard enough.
100%. That's right.
Nürburgring is just
How many
special
corners
breed.
are the Nürburgring?
I think not. It's like 70
I don't know.
or something. Yeah.
That's
So we're
crazy.
talking about braking zones at Winton before.
Yeah. I like how you think about it. You think memorize every braking zone. Yeah.
All right, one more,
I'd
and we'll
forget-
end this
I'd
segment.
seriously forget.
Yeah. Is this your clip?
I don't know which one.
Oh,
This is.
just-
That's
this is-
actually, just quickly,
All right, we'll pause it.
we can talk about it after. When I went to New Zealand, Highlands, have you guys seen that track?
I've seen
I've seen
it,
clips.
yeah.
There's
I've
a
seen
bridge.
clips.
Yeah. So, like,
You raced there?
so I
Yeah,
went
right.
to New Zealand last year with, end of 2023. That's what really sparked the whole Hi-Tec thing. Peter Robinson took me over there. He broke his shoulder in an accident, and he got me and Nathan Hearn to drive his two cars over there. And the first one was at Ruapuna, Christchurch, where supercars are going next year. So that was quite a simple, normal track. But yeah, Highlands out of control. Tony Quinn designed that, and every corner on the track resembled
Different aspects of different
like
tracks
a
around the
track
world.
around the world. Like had
Yeah,
the
right.
bus stop and had
Yeah.
like some of the
Yeah.
last section of the track was like from Spa but mirrored.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
okay.
Yeah, it was like
That's
it's
really,
cool.
The bend
Yeah.
done something like that too. The bend mimicked a
I
lot of
think
corners.
Sam had a bit of influence on some of the tracks around Europe and
yeah,
put some of those
like
elements into the
same
track.
thing. Like Nathan does a lot of racing around the world, so especially in America. We went there and it was raining and we were late to the track walk at Ruapuna, and we darted across and just done sectors 2 and 3. And the first sector was off into first session. He was off in sector 1, and he's put it down to not walking it. Like he could memorize it that quick. And
right.
Highlands took me the whole weekend to remember. It was like you go under a bridge and then halfway around the lap you go over where you just went like over a bridge. We're getting air and TA2 cars like.
That's sick. Or
amazing.
Trans Am's over there.
Yeah,
They
we
got-
raced Trans Am
Okay.
over there. Yeah, and
That's
we were
amazing.
getting air. We'll put a photo in the clip. But yeah, it was sick.
That's
yeah.
insane.
Did you ever race Oran Park? Or you were too young?
Nah, too young.
I raced Oran Park.
I raced on iRacing. It's good fun.
Yeah, I was 16, I think. I raced Aussie
such a cool
car.
Yeah,
track.
that's cool.
And that was the last ever year in 2009.
9, yeah.
That's
It's all
when they shut it
housing
down.
now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
They got all the street names like Preta Brock Lane
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Not that the residents even care about it, but
no
it's
way.
a shame.
All right, one last one. So we're talking about track design, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Now this track design is dumb. Like, who designs a track with a concrete
Yeah,
That's
no
dumb,
good.
dude.
Yeah, that's no good.
Like, why have?
A straight edge of concrete exposed.
And you know what? This reminds me of some of the Speedway tracks in America
Oh
where
my
they have
God.
the chutes.
yeah,
And then they come in and just
yeah.
why design a track? Have a
Yeah,
gate.
mate.
That's horrible, man. That is
horrible.
actually just horrible.
That's a front wheel drive. So one less front wheel
that
drive on
is
the
a
road. You know what I
really
mean? Like,
bad
As long as the
crash.
driver's okay, it's not a big loss.
that is serious, isn't
Like,
it?
for
How's the
the
flame?
explosion, everything like that.
Yeah.
How's that bloke standing there? Look,
Is this an old? is this like from the? This is modern times as well.
this just happened like last week.
Yeah,
This is some shit.
This is some serious shit.
Where would that be?
Probably the southwest of Midwest or something.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
goes
know.
to show. So we had a lot of crashes in our Bournemouth Turf clips of the week. So thanks to
Thanks,
Bournemouth Turf.
Borman, for bringing that up. So this one here. So we've covered obviously George Russell got a bit of a win.
Yeah, results of motorsport around the world. We need to touch base on this.
Porsche loses after leading. We touched on that one. So Brock Feeney dominates Darwin.
Brock Feeney
Yeah.
had qualifying race
was-
1 and race 2.
Was he good there last year?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good to see Kyle Allen got his first podium
Yeah.
as well.
Well,
which is
Penrite
good.
have really stepped up, haven't they?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I remember talking to Kai the week he signed with Penrite, and it was a bit of a shock to everyone, thinking he was going to go to Shell E-Power at the time, being the co-driver. But I really see Groves are putting a lot into that. They got two really good engineers, two really good drivers. Like Kai's going awesome. Maddie Payne's
Yeah.
awesome.
Amazing.
Everyone that comes from New Zealand's good, but yeah, I
good.
think it's good to see someone investing in a team like that.
And a different team up the front.
Made
Yeah,
a
you
know?
difference. They're both on the podium.
I think they've got a really good strategy.
I was about
team.
to say their strategy on
It's
Sunday.
just insane.
And they both they started 5th and 6th, and 2 laps to go, they ended up being 2nd, 3rd.
But even like last year with some of their strategy calls with Payne, like
There's-
running along and stuff,
Yeah.
and then doing early stuff. It's
Yeah.
just they're trying
And they've
things
done
and
it
it's
with
working.
Kai. They've done it with Kai at Perth
Right,
when he got 13th. I think he started 21st or something.
right.
And then done it again in Darwin. But you got to have a good strategy. But the car and then Kai alone, to be able to, I think he was doing the same lap times as what Payne was, but he pitted. Like he was on an old tyre doing his long run, and then to take the fastest lap off Feeney, that's a pretty good effort.
Well, I think it's also in the driver that you have to believe the process.
Oh,
That
100%.
if you're hunting around 14th,
Yeah.
12th, believe that we're
get
going to
quiet.
pop out
Yeah.
up the front later in the race. Don't half-ass
watching
drive the
everyone
car.
hit and you're second
Yeah,
solid and
don't
everyone
just
on
fucking
hard fire.
push,
Yeah.
push mid race because it may work itself out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's working for him.
Like I was saying, the cars he was racing against, when Kyle was racing against, pitted twice, done both their stops before he done his first, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a cooked. It's you
What was
got
the heat like? Was it a hot race?
Wasn't up
He
there.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, we were there last year, and that was the first time I felt like
Darwin was
really hot in the car.
difficult.
Yeah.
That was a
I
hot
felt it through the
weekend.
gear shifter and
Yeah.
the pedal box.
Yeah.
It was seriously
The car
hot in the
survived.
utes.
I was ready for the Utes probably overheating.
Well, that's why. Yeah.
When we went up there, the first ever two-driver enduro for TA2 was in Darwin. So whoever come up with that to do the first ever, these cars are pretty agricultural.
The
TA2
TA2
cars.
wasn't.
And they would probably people blow
You
up
got a call
motors
suit?
and I didn't.
You got one now?
No.
No, right.
Yeah, wow.
Budget racer, mate.
It's not that dear.
Yeah.
We'll speak to your.
Yep. Race Tool Innovations.
Yeah,
Get into
yeah.
it.
And they were great at the 6 hour.
Nah, I'm a chill out operator. So.
He's got cold-blooded veins running through.
Race,
last-
Race Chill Innovations.
Just
For all
on-
your cool suit needs, just make sure you know Race Chill
That's
Innovations.
a good little advert you've
Just
done
so
there.
you
That's
know.
good. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Should be in the promotion game.
I could go right again. Just on Brock Feeney, do you guys think it's interesting in supercars, Cam Waters dominates Sydney, no one can touch him, and then Darwin, it's obviously there's good drivers, I get that, but it's also very track specific as well.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a setup thing or if it's a driver
I
thing.
think it's you look at they didn't really seem to talk about it, but Team 18, you look at Frosty the last few years, he rock up and get a podium and a win at Darwin, and then you put Anton in that car, hasn't done a whole lot all year, didn't do a heat with Shell the last couple of years, goes and gets a podium there, and then you look at the Matt Stone cars at Tassie,
Yep.
it just, I don't know, seems to be the way.
But they're split very close as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But the thing is, when Red Bull have a bad weekend, it's like 5th.
yeah.
But when Tickford are either winning, or like you look at them last week, it's like 17th and 16th, 17th. Like it's proper.
Not good.
No.
And I think it crushes their soul a little bit as well.
would,
and then they flow on to the next race meeting going.
Especially when they got rid of 2 cars in a bid to get their 2-car program up the top end.
Well, they've
Yeah.
just filled it with 4 or 6
Yeah.
Super 2
Yeah,
cars.
that's right, yeah.
So to fund it sort of
Yeah.
thing. But
Well, one last thing. Results of motorsport around the world. Nürburgring 24 Hour was great. But Le Mans was the week before. And Robert Kubica, Ferrari. 3 times in a row, Ferrari's won. And Robert Kubica was actually meant to be a Ferrari driver before his accident in rally in
he got
2011.
fucked up in
He
the
had
rally,
a
didn't
massive. He was in a coma. Like really, he had he went through a guardrail and it actually went through like one side of his body almost.
Yeah,
his
it's no
whole
good.
left side.
That wouldn't help.
But for him to win with Ferrari at Le Mans, he's kind of a token. He's won a Formula One race. He's won at Le Mans. He's won a rally championship. I'm pretty sure he's got the dual. No, he's won. I think it's Indy or something. Maybe
I don't.
he's got the dual crown. And
Hasn't
maybe
won
it's
any
not
utes,
Indy.
though.
No,
Hasn't
he
won.
hasn't. But it's
Have
a massive achievement.
Oh,
You know.
With Transcom going on here.
Yeah. Transcom, please make a segment from this. Would love that. And speaking of which, you've obviously been to New Zealand, you said,
Yeah.
but you've been around the world. Quite a bit.
So New Zealand was probably the biggest one for me. I've never ever been overseas. I was it was a funny story. I was on the header one night. I reckon it was about 9-10 o'clock at night. Just out there, 3 k's an hour up and back. And Peter Robinson messaged me, "Have you got a passport?" And I knew New Zealand was coming up, and I didn't have the budget to go there. We're actually we sold my Mustang, what we owned, and I didn't, but I replied to him. I was like, "Yeah, mate, it's in the application." I was actually getting one done anyway, and in a bid to hope he didn't go to the next driver that had one. And I got it done, and he said, just keep it for Plan B. And I was sort of hoping, and then he ended up saying, "No, I can't do it." So that was a big thing for me, and big turning point I felt in my career. Couple weeks before, I was horrible. Couldn't find my feet in TA2 again, and was running like P11 at Calder Park, and it started raining, and drove it to second past Nash Morris, run behind Jared Hughes, and it was awesome. And that's when I met George Gambino. So it was a rough trot to New Zealand as well. I had it all planned out. I was going with Nathan Hearn, and then my younger cousin, the day before I was flying out, passed away. So he was 18, good friend of mine, cousin obviously, and he passed away, and all family was coming, from all around Australia to home, and his funeral was going to be the next week, and I sort of had this big decision to make to go to New Zealand or stay home, and it was a double header, and I just felt, staying at home was, it was pretty hard time, so I just thought I'll get going and, break away and, hopefully take my mind off things, and mum and dad were willing to do whatever it took to get me home for the funeral, and so I done the first race, and it was going to be midweek. I was going to miss practice, and it was pretty tough. I woke up the next morning to got my flight. It was going to be like 4 motel rooms, 3 days, 7 flights or something, all connecting back to home, and then back for race 1 in New Zealand. And I got food poisoning, so couldn't board flights, couldn't do anything, and the whole team got it, like myself and Nath were over there, and so that was a really, really shitty time for me. But then I rocked up to the next race, got better. Max Vidot was there, and he knew Max, and it was he sat with me. So it was all turned out not too bad in the long run. But that weekend when I was at Highlands, George Gambino messaged Pete Robinson and said, I'll take that car you've got, brand new car, and then one thing led to another. So many negatives, but you can take positives out of any situation, really. Yeah,
it went from probably the lowest of lows in your career, and it was insane how things just happened.
Yeah, turn on its head.
A massive turnaround.
Yeah.
Such a hard thing to do, especially when you're trying to race and you've got so much things in your personal life as well. You just try and keep a brave face on, but and obviously with motor neuron disease as well, you've had a big part in that. I remember your Excel, you had a livery representing two of your family members, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so not direct family, but family friends, like to the point where they were nonetheless my third grandparents, and all theirs, like all family class them as cousins, uncles, aunties, and everything. And I didn't meet Helen Helzer. She passed away of motor neurons. It was really, my mum and dad were quite close. I'm quite close with all of them. They've sponsored me and they helped me. I'm friends with their kids and everything. And so Helzer passed away probably a year before I was born from motor neurons. And then 21 years on, David Grubb, we called him, he started getting sick and no one really knew why, and got the diagnosis of motor neuron disease on the 21 week, like the week of his wife passing from the same thing. So it was just an incredibly mind-blowing and hard time. Small farming community, there's only really 3 or 4 families and generational families around out where we live, and that was just a difficult time for everyone to comprehend that 20 years on, same thing, and then I just felt like it was a nice touch for what they'd done, with Neil Danaher and Fight MND, what they've done. I got in touch with Fight MND, the Danaher thing, and got them on my Excel, and they haven't had a photo of their parents together in 21 years. And I got Asher and Simon Wills, they knocked it out of the park to make a memorial thing on my bonnet that quite literally looked like those two that had passed, the family members that, together smiling. So it was quite emotional for everyone, and we raised a lot of money in like a week's notice with $13,000 just like that at the local pub. That was pretty hard and very, very cool to be able to give back and do things like that as well. In motorsport's a great industry to be able to be exposed and things like that.
People listen.
Oh, correct.
And that's where we're doing a sport that people like to look at it and see what you're doing. And if you can bring some of that charity aspect into it, it helps.
Yeah.
So
Fight MND's it's amazing what they've been able to do. There's like the ice bucket challenge at the moment that people have been doing.
Craig Lowndes.
Craig Lowndes.
What was that?
I think it's the 11th year. So they go like the big 11. They do the beanies and they do a slide, like a celebrity slide.
Is that at the football?
Yeah, once a year.
Yeah, right.
He was like Terminator and goes down a slide.
And you got to dress up as something.
Yeah, right.
And, it's pretty cool. So Lowndes got to do it this year, and a lot of people, like our local footy clubs, got one.
Slide, is it?
Yeah, like a slide or a dunk in ice.
Or
you have to dress up. They got that one this weekend. Unfortunately, I can't be there. But they've got the bonnet. Marcus Ambrose signed that bonnet and everything, and they hang it up and put it on show and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Or you can get nominated and you get a bucket of water thrown on you. And so it's good.
We should nominate Mr. Dusty for that, just for our convenience.
Well, what was the ice bucket challenge? Is that
was just that would have been
thing.
It wasn't for motor neurons. It would have been for
TikTok or something. Or was it?
TikTok wasn't around then. I was like 6 when that came in.
But it was the same kind of vibe. But ready to fight him in
would have been getting
something like that.
Funds for something.
Yeah. So there's a lot of promotion. There should be for that side.
We'll roll through. So, would you rather segment? Press the button. Yeah, brought to you by United Fasteners.
Thank you, United Fasteners. So, would you rather segment? This is a big one.
Turn that off now.
This is a big one.
This is a big one. This will create some conversations. I'll ask you, Dusty. Would you rather race in Formula One or the 24-hour, as we spoke about, Le Mans? What would you do?
Formula One, I feel like, as amazing as it is, a pure racing driver.
Really?
Le Mans or Nürburgring. I love endurance racing. Having a teammate or two, and those long, massive races. Just Formula One's cool, but endurance racing.
I'd go F1.
I feel like
everyone wants to get to F1. Everyone wants to do F1.
I feel like F1 is not like. I apologise if you guys are still aspiring to be F1 drivers, but
no way.
I feel like F1 is so out of touch for nearly everyone. Whereas the GT3 at Le Mans is so achievable.
Nah, this is more. Yeah, like when it was LMP1.
Yeah, right.
That would be full on. Now they've dumbed down the version. I think they're like 8 seconds slower.
Yeah, GT racing still got a bit of purity to it.
No. I mean the top level.
I'd be a fan of 24-hour.
Yeah. Okay. I'd go F1 just because.
You could say you raced F1.
No, not so much the saying I could race F1. It's more so those cars are insane.
Yeah.
The technology.
I wouldn't be
that
able to
goes into
handle it, mate.
I'd
I'd
be
be puffed out
mate,
by
You
a
couldn't
like that.
handle a 24-hour Le Mans car, mate.
No, I probably couldn't.
Actually, you probably could. You just dial in the traction control
Yeah,
and ABS.
ABS,
There's none
yeah.
of that in Trans Am, is there?
Oh, hell no.
So that's a good one. So 24 hours. Drive a rally car, like WRC, let's put it.
Yep.
Or a D1, like the best drift car. I don't know.
Or George Gambino would hate me if I said rally car because his main thing is drifting.
Yeah, okay.
And he's got some cool drift cars. Like
does.
But what would you want to do?
Well, to be honest with you, if you asked me 12 months ago, I would have said dirt rally.
Yep.
But after being in like the 350,
Oh, so you've done the drifting?
not I haven't driven.
Oh, you
but
sat in there?
just being in with those guys, like they're mad. Like I would actually find it really fun to be drifting.
Okay.
I'd say drifting. Yeah.
And one for you, Adrian. Would you rather?
I'd go WRC. What would you go?
WRC. I love WRC. Drifting's
Yeah.
amazing.
So WRC.
It's a whole different
Drifting.
breed.
Drifting.
Would you rather win one championship title and retire, or be a fan favourite for 20 years without even winning?
Well, it's just go and ask Denny Hamlin that.
Yeah, he would love that one.
But he's not really a fan favourite.
True.
At the moment.
None of them are.
But
He
he's
used to
like
be.
fifth on the all-time winners list.
But that's no winning though.
Yeah.
Oh, is that winning as a winning race?
That's
or
winning a championship and
Okay.
race. You're just a driver there. that
Nah,
people
you'd have
support.
to do a championship.
But mate, the
I feel
sponsors
like-
come. The sponsors come. If you, what would you do?
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a hard one. I feel like I'm in it for the long run, and I'd almost go 20 years of being a fan.
Is that because
Yeah.
you haven't won in the Trans Am?
It's all about the. It's all about the
Hey,
fans.
I haven't won in the
I'd have
Utes
to
yet.
ask. Josh Haynes because he smoked me last year and it was quite hard. So maybe championship.
What would you do, Dusty?
I'm already doing it. I'd rather do 20 years without winning, because
But you're not a fan favourite though. Nah, you are. You are.
Yeah.
You are.
So,
I think it's all
yeah.
about the fans. It's all about the community. That's
But if you could do 20 years, see, this is a conundrum. You could do 20 years of racing, and then when you're tied on the 20th year.
Does that mean I can do 20 years? Can I do 20 years of different categories? Absolutely.
That's a good one.
It's a tongue twister, that one.
You do the next one as well.
To Brad, would you rather crash out of the lead on the final lap or finish second because of a controversial penalty?
If I won and got the penalty to finish second, I'm crashing out.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Because I can,
Because you
whether it was
remember
my
that.
fault or someone else's fault, I can just hang my head on the, I can just be like,
I fucked up.
yeah, I either fucked up,
Yeah.
or someone fucked me up. Whereas it sounds like the
So
penalties-
you and Todd? So
no, mate. I remember I didn't take him out. I spun Jackson Rice out with 2 rounds to go last 2023, and looking back at it now, if you add the points up, he probably would have won the championship.
Wow.
He would have.
Yeah, I was nowhere, mate.
So he
That
would
was
have
after
been
my
a
break
bit
fell.
dark at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
he wasn't real happy.
So I'll do the last one for you two. Start with you, Adrian.
It's 2 to go.
No. That second
Says
to last one's
5
crap.
months, mate.
All right.
Would you rather drive a classic 1980s F1 car
60s.
or 1960s, or a cutting-edge modern hypercar on a track?
Really, really
I've
hard.
actually, it's not a genuine, but it's a perfect replica. I've driven a 1960s F1 car.
No.
Yeah, I have.
Where?
What have you driven?
When?
One raceway.
What'd
Well,
you drive?
Hyper. No, I'm joking.
yeah.
So, like, whose car was this?
Oh, can I show
All
you?
right, let's
No.
go. Let's pull it up.
Can I not?
We're allowed it.
Go
We're
on,
allowed
go
it.
on.
So I need
It
to- I
won't-
need to
it
try
won't
and-
take me long.
So it was a replica
Of a Brabham?
60s or 80s or something.
Yeah, I'll just show you.
That's insane.
It won't find me.
So what would you do? Oh, look, this question was directed at me.
What would you do?
Cutting edge modern hypercar. So that doesn't mean,
Like an Aston Martin Valkyrie
That's awesome.
or Bugatti Chiron?
I reckon something like that.
I'd do a hypercar.
Yeah.
Cutting edge tech. Not going to break down on me. I'm not going to blow up and get hurt if I crash it.
What happens if it wasn't going to break down? It wasn't going to get hurt.
No, I'd still do a hypercar.
Really?
Something modern with the tech it's got.
I just like,
There's something about the rawness.
it was so raw. Like H pattern.
He's a raw
like,
dog.
Yeah.
He loves it raw.
It was so cool. Like the wind in your face.
Yeah.
I think the
like,
feeling
it was-
of everything.
That
You
was
can
a
just
double A, like just a TA2 event. So not like there was fans on the hill.
No.
It wasn't Bathurst, but you come down pit lane and literally every driver and everything was like video on. Like, how
That's
cool is
sick.
this? Hypercar is just another thing, mate.
You're right.
Well, I'll still stick to what I think, but thank you.
You
We
will
don't-
not. You'll
Cool
be
question.
changing.
Cool
Right, that
question.
was a good one. That was a good segment.
That was
so
fantastic.
we've got the next segment. What do you reckon, Dusty? Well, just don't press the button yet. Get displays, moral dilemmas. This is some good one. This is actually one of my favorites.
I want to focus on Brad for these ones because
Okay,
there's some good ones in here. I'll let you go the first one.
Can or should motorsport continue with high emissions in the face of global climate change? So example is the carbon
I
footprint.
don't want
Formula
to
One.
the rest of the question. I already know.
You already know. So Formula E or electric racing or that raw dog 410 sprint car late
It
models.
has to be raw dog.
Yeah,
Like
I
all the
love
way. I've seen like NASCAR, perfect example. Those little hatchback Mustangs that they're testing, electric. If they go to that, I'll
off it.
I just can't see how I'd watch it.
But you know who owns that or tries to push that?
Who?
The UFC, Dana White.
Yeah, right. Well, it's gotta be
he
gone.
owns
It
that.
cannot happen. Dana
Does
White
he?
will
Does
not
he?
see this, but it will not happen.
Yeah, I know. He might see it. So Dana, if you're listening, sell it off.
None of that.
Cut it off.
Yeah.
That's
But-
insane.
So Dana White must have bought it. He thought maybe there's something in it, electric NASCAR, but
Yeah.
that's
Nah.
the whole
Who gives-
tactile.
who gives a crap?
Flames,
And the other thing is-
sound, tires.
My question is, if they're gonna do that, why don't keep the shape of the normal ones and just put an electric motor in it? At least keep it the same.
So they
with
went
TV.
hatch. I thought they were still like
There's
sedan
something Noah
based.
Gregson was testing the other day, put on his Instagram. It was like a proper hatchback. It looked like a TCR car.
We all know how that works in Australia. But what would you go?
Mate, I just don't get rid of it. Nothing electric. Not interested. No one. You know what the market is for it. It's not going to
but-
work.
Yeah, it doesn't. We don't need
No
to
one
go
wants it.
there.
The thing is, we also
Nobody-
have no choice. If that's what was going to happen and that was the normal, we're
Yeah.
going to watch F1. If everything's electric,
Correct.
we're going to watch it. I mean,
20
that's
years
all we
ago,
got.
people would say
I
the
get that.
hybrid era F1 would never happen. And
It has.
And it
When
has.
the-
But
when-
F3, what Formula E hasn't really worked.
No.
because we've still got
F1,
normal F1.
which F1's merging towards
Yeah.
electric, which I
Yeah.
hope they just get that feeling back.
I hope so.
Anyway, we'll see how we go.
Driver liability in fatal accidents dilemma. Should a driver be held morally or legally responsible for another person's death if the rules were followed, but risk-taking caused fatal consequence?
So this is one that I can pull up with the whole Tony Stewart thing. So I don't know if you know this. You would know he's a speedway kind of guy. A NASCAR driver, you would have heard of it. So he swerved and under yellow swerved at a guy that got out of his car and pointed at him, and he killed him.
He
So-
drove into him.
Drove into him under yellow
There's
flag.
actually footage of it on YouTube.
There's
I think I've seen
footage
it.
on there.
Would not clip it in, but
No, he swerved at him to say, like the Russell Ingall, Mark Scaife deal, and he actually hit him and killed him.
Whoa. So what was the consequence of that?
Well, nothing.
But I get what you're saying. It's like if I was to get a 30-second penalty for spinning someone out, but if they hit the wall and died, is there any bigger penalty?
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Like, to be honest with you, no. Like I don't believe there should be any consequence for the driver that caused
Nothing.
it.
Like
know it's
if I
hard, but they
pinned, you
signed
took
up
me
to
out,
racing.
I went backwards on the track and head-on impact killed you.
Yeah. It's not, or if you look at the regs, it's not, I suppose it is illegal because you get a penalty, but it's not like a crime. You're not going to jail for it.
You're not intentionally.
But if I
They signed-
intentionally went out to...
well, then yes,
That's
that
what I'm
should be
saying.
charged.
But,
So that-
I don't think-
hey, that's what Tony Stewart swerved to intentionally not kill him. Maybe I didn't go and
And it didn't
try to
go-
kill you,
Yeah.
but I killed you.
So it's
How do you interpret it?
Yeah.
technically it's manslaughter, but you know,
Yeah,
But
but that's the whole thing.
but it's
That's the
also
question is
like-
liability in fatal accidents.
well, you signed
Also,
the,
look at like AFL or any sporting thing. Like when, I don't even know their names. I think it was like Andrew Gaff or something, West Coast player, turn around and broke someone's jaw.
Right.
And he gets
Far
like
out.
5 weeks, whatever. If you done that at the pub,
He'd be
you're
in
going
jail.
to jail.
in jail.
Well,
But you seem protected because you're in a sporting code.
yeah, good
Yeah.
call. Well, there's a good one that we'll bring it up again. Ice hockey player. You might have remembered this a couple of years ago. He went up and brought his foot up and sliced the guy's throat.
Oh,
and
that was
he killed him.
bad.
He killed
Yeah.
him.
Really?
yeah,
I
I've seen
don't
that.
think he went to jail. But if I went across to your house and grabbed my ice hockey
Yeah.
and killed you, I'd
And
be
the thing
going to
is, we
jail.
go to driver's briefing and they say this is a no contact sport.
It's a good one. This is why we bring this segment up. It's a moral dilemma. Like,
We're pretty fortunate in all motorsport. I know all across the board in the world, it probably happens more than we think, but especially in Australia, touch wood, I'm going racing this weekend, but like we're probably pretty lucky none of that really happens.
Yeah, but you say that and then one accident.
Like
I think the last death in
don't
Australian motorsport was in QR, that roll racing or
there was that.
What was that roll racing or the speed off the street and the guy was hanging out and he flew out the car.
That's not racing. That's stupid.
No, I know, but it's still motorsport related and track related. But it's interesting. All right, I'll ask this one. Banning countries for human rights. So obviously at the moment when we air this, the World War III debacle is going on with America, Iran and Israel and things like that. Should motorsport avoid racing in countries with poor human rights records, even, for financial incentive? So obviously coming up, we've got the Middle East Grand Prix. So there's a few incidents here with Saudi Arabia, and we've got like Mazepin with the Russian sort of oligarchs and stuff. And we Formula One did ban Mazepin, or they indirectly kind of
they did
do it. Do you think that's fair?
The thing I think of straight away is not so much what's going on there, but it's like if you're racing a car worth $20 million and it's costing people $400 a ticket and everything, and I remember that, I don't know where it was, but there was an F1 race where on in-car footage you could see bombs going off in the background.
Really?
Well, it's like you got to think this is costing me $10 million to race this weekend. F1 team costs more than that.
Oh, way more.
And within 300 k's of me, his family's dying that can't eat. Like, that's you sort of know what I mean there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, we're privileged, let's say, if you're a Formula One racer, to go racing.
Place if our countries can't get along.
What about blocking a driver from a country that is...
Well, it's probably not his fault.
Maybe, but that's the whole thing with the Mazepin thing was that his backers that were backing him were from Russian oligarchs who we're going to get busted into this room and we're going to get shot. But like saying that, like that, do you think that should be blocked? Yeah. Maybe.
No, because if the driver's not indirectly involved,
but
it's unfortunate. That's just abuse of them being born in that country. That
no. He's funding to go racing.
I'm aware of that. If it wasn't for him, it's still unfortunate.
But if it is,
I still think it's unfortunate of him as a driver who's still maybe connected to that company. But is it really their fault? But that being the case,
yeah, this is the whole thing.
Like, Danny Kvyat, he's hadn't had any controversies or connected companies. What if he couldn't race?
Well, was it Mazepin that had the one where he had the chicks in the Uber? And
that was a controversy.
Was touching the chick. If you haven't heard this one, so he was in a. You've seen this one. He was in an Uber and he was touching up some chick in the Uber, and somehow the video footage got put up and it got brought all over the media. Yeah, so. That was all when this whole Russian oligarch thing was going on with the Russian-Ukraine war. Yeah. So it was inevitable that was all gone. So that was Haas, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Haas.
So who got the drive after that?
That was I think Magnussen got it back, and it was good for the team. Like Gunther Steiner did a whole book about this, which is
then he went pole.
To. Yeah.
What do you think of Gunther?
Pole at Brazil.
Gunther?
Love what he does. And his books, I've read both and they're amazing. And he's come to Adelaide.
You've read the books?
Yeah.
He's well read.
Do you read?
No, a podcast kind of guy.
Well, read the books, they're actually good. Or have the audio book, even easier for you.
Okay.
But we'll move on to vlog comment section of the week.
That's a weird whistle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? That was my vlog comment of the week.
Right, so this one aligns well with yourself. This was probably a good year ago. So we're going to try and highlight some of these vlogs online and try and suppress them because some of these comments online, it's getting out of control. Like you're hiding behind a keyboard, pull your head in. So this one here, I'll pull him up. John Christensen. So this was a comment, or this was an article that V8 Sleuth ran. It was to do with V8 at the Trans Ams and Hazelwood sweeps Tasmania around maybe a year ago or something. Yep. And he's commented on this article saying, essentially one make racing with a controlled engine hard to get excited. Well,
I
buddy,
think the opposite.
Yeah, buddy, like shut your face. Like you got no idea what you're talking about.
Supercars is.
Well, it's not. Like supercars have got different engines and stuff like that. But it's more even.
But does that not make it more exciting?
It's more exciting. So and then a comment that someone's blasted him saying, "Have you watched it?" way better than supercars. Well, that's an opinion. Honestly, guys, if you what's wrong with motorsport? It had 50 different cars, 50 different winners throughout the year. You would complain one wasn't
There's
right,
always
pink.
something wrong.
So there's always something wrong. So
Yeah.
these guys, they sit behind
Always
it. John, pull your head in. So we're going to be blasting a lot of these guys online, and I don't care.
Oh,
Like,
the motorsport fan base is almost as bad as football. Like with some of these comments, like, do you even watch the race?
they don't.
You don't watch. You don't
They
even
all
watch
they,
the
they
race.
they lurk around the comment section.
Yeah.
There's Speed
You've got
Cafe.
something better to do.
hang
They
on.
live off
so
it.
so
Like,
they
this is
they
the most-
actually spend more time on the comment section of V8 Sleuth, Speed Cafe, all these articles than actually watching the racing.
Yeah.
It's a sad life. Get out your mum's basement. There's a life out there. Live it. So anyway, that's
Yeah.
us. So last segment here, we've got the Q&A segment brought to you by 3D Siteworks.
Thank you very much. This is my favourite one because we've asked you guys online to send your questions in for Brad Gartner, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover off. So I'm going to ask him more. I'm just going to say him straight out. So the
Is it a general questions?
This
general
is
question. I'm
wild.
gonna record this anyway. All right. So first question, Brad Gartner, from Giuseppe.bbc. Do you like men?
Absolutely not.
Far out. This is raw as it comes.
I want to know who
So
that is.
Well, yeah, that's the trick. This is the keyboards, and they get to.
Giuseppe, it's a private profile as well. So I don't
What's
know
the
who that
next
is.
one?
All right. So next one is I'll let you.
Okay, JT Racing Australia. Favorite TA driver to race against, and the best up and coming. So I guess that's two questions.
Well, Josh Thomas asked that, so I might say Josh Thomas is the best to race against. I'd say best race against, and my biggest rivalry has been Josh Haynes. We had some run-ins last year, but realistically, probably the coolest race I've ever had. And he's doing he's a good guy. Almost leaked something there. And best up-and-coming driver. In terms of supercars,
Or
TA2.
TA2. TA2.
Oh,
TA2.
Nah,
Who's the young ripper?
Brad
TA2.
Gartner, mate. No, Young Ripper and TA2.
Is any young pups coming on?
The thing is, there's a lot of
New
drivers in there that do other things, like Ben Gomezal and
Jared and all that.
okay.
Jared. I'd say, although
Who's he?
I'd say, but he's like a co-driver in supercars.
Yeah, but he's young. and
I
he's
would
up-
say,
yeah, I hear what
I'd
you're
say
saying.
the first 3 rounds of TA2. Josh's going to hate this because it's his brother, but Diesel Thomas.
Diesel Thomas.
How
yeah.
old's he? Young pup.
He's young.
18.
I think he's 16, 17.
He's
Yeah,
young,
right.
and
hey.
he's really good. He's really good.
He's been really
so
good.
sorry, Josh, but Diesel's got you, mate. Your dad always tells me that Diesel's going to be the best one, and Diesel's got you.
Good fun.
Next one is from Preston.gov2. Thoughts on Carco?
You haven't raced?
Never raced there. Never done anything on Sims. Not.
Well, I'll answer it
But yeah.
because I raced there the other week.
Yeah.
Good track. Simple.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of passing opportunities.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, bit of bank corners. You sort of, for the fans as well, you can see a fair bit of the
Yeah.
track. Probably
Yeah.
80% of the circuit you can
Yeah.
see, and that's a big thing from a lot of the Speedway. Our fans that love
Yeah,
Speedway, they
100%.
circuit
See the whole
racing,
track.
can't see anything. Well, you kind of can,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
tracks like QR, tracks like Winton, tracks like
Yeah.
Carco Raceway. You can
Yeah.
see most of the circuit, so that's a positive. I like it. It's good.
There's another question from Andy744 that's from the last podcast. Why do super utes use the wheels they do? They don't interlock wheels or not?
Yeah, so
interlock wheels to do
more
it,
so the
racing?
question is like why they use the wheels. I'll put a note here saying they have a quite a flat face on them. It's more so you don't bust the wheel. So you don't knock that tire off the wheel and you can go racing. Have a bit more of that side to side contact, and you see a lot of that with the supercars at the
Yeah.
moment where they interlock wheels and.
Yeah. It obviously just didn't work out for Rossi Johnson.
No. So sometimes it does grab, but I think that was actually a steering rod broke and it sent him into the wall. So that's why, to be honest, they look a bit clunky in silver. I think if everyone went to the black wheels, it would look a little bit nicer. But yeah, that's why they do that wheel design.
There you go. Lucky McDonough. Rumor
He's a
has.
410 sprint car. We've raced him before.
He's not at all. He competes. That's what he
So
does.
how do you know him?
It's Max's best mate. They're together
All
right now.
Rumor has it you like feet a little too much. Please ask why. What does that mean?
That's clearly it must be wrong person or something. I wouldn't have a clue what he's talking about.
There's a foot fetish going on here that no one's talking
Sorry,
about.
Lockie. Not sure what you're talking
I'll let you
about,
ask the
mate.
next question.
So Maxi, he's Max Vidot, Porsche
Don't know
Carrera
who
Cup superstar. Tell him the Belair Palmy is peak.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I'm gutted, mate. But this is why I call it.
He
Hit
came-
a wall podcast ago. So I literally had a call from Max Vidot. So this is how much of a trader he is. He's like, just don't go to the podcast, come to the Palmy.
The dog does.
Nah.
We were going to ask Max to come on the
yeah.
podcast, but
I don't know, Max. Are we?
It's game over, mate.
yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, but I can imagine it's peak. Having quite a few palmies with those two boys there. So yeah, missing out, but I'm sure I'll have a couple this weekend.
I'm more gutted that Max's Super 2 car didn't have Blair Pub on it on the sponsorship
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
right.
That
Does
would have
Max-
been better.
Is he racing Porsche this year?
Yeah, but
Yep.
he's racing Porsche in a couple of enduro rounds over in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So that's why he's missed Darwin.
He's the one that he's racing with is my last name, but with a different spelling. Cottrell.
Yeah, I've seen
Cottrell.
that. Yeah,
Cottrell.
Yeah.
And
With
they're
a-
doing quite well over there. So
They
good
did-
on,
they
good
did-
on
they got a
Max.
Is that
Podium.
GT3 or is that
Nah,
Porsche
it's a
Carrera Cup?
Cup car,
Okay.
but it's within GT3 cars and stuff.
Because they haven't got a Carrera Cup.
different
okay.
classes.
Yeah,
There's no
right.
Carrera Cup in New Zealand,
Fair
No,
really.
but
No.
it's a cup car.
No,
Fair enough.
interesting.
Last one, Ruben.
No, there's more after this, but Ruben says, thoughts on racing at Mala, Ruben Goodall.
Yeah, I think I enjoy racing at Mallard. It's a cool little track. I've only ever raced an XL there. In terms of a TA2 or a bigger car that moves around, I think it's going to be a bit awkward. Not to say it won't produce good racing, but I think it's definitely going to be difficult to get a TA2 around there and not a lot of runoff in a few areas. Passing's good, but it's not overly wide or anything. But I think it's exciting. It's great for me. I'm the only SA, least dibs, jumping back in one. But
You're doing the last round of the year there?
yeah, there's two. Yeah. So there's one in Hi-Tec Oils Super Series, and there's also one.
Oh, so there's two.
I didn't know there
Trans
was
Am.
two.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's
I thought that was joint.
So
it's a separate.
the homecoming in November, the week before the Adelaide 500, is Trans Am, and the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series Malai race is late September, last weekend of September.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One from Riley Brigg.
Yep.
What do you do outside of racing and who are your buddies?
Oh, so I know he's asked this one for a great reason for him to get a mention, but
There you go, Riley.
So down home, I just have a few close mates. We just paddock bash on the weekends, go watch footy, go to the palmy,
So he's
have
an
a
expert.
palmy at the pub. So yeah, sort of all my good mates, Jakey Clem, Caleb Moulton, Rolly Briggs, and all the boys down home. So yeah, it's a good bunch of boys.
Now, what do you do as a job?
I'm a farmer, so I work for mum and dad on farm. So my brother Sam is one of the crew guys, pretty high up. He drives a truck and runs a fair bit of Jamie Veal's sprint car teams. He lives in Warrnambool, comes back and plays footy on weekends, and yeah, he's a good guy. And my eldest brother Jack, he nonetheless runs the farm with my dad says all of us plus 2 employees. Mum runs all the books, so can't thank Mazza enough for
Family
that.
business.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
love a bit of sheep work, cows. It's different when everyone asks what you do when you rock up to a racetrack. It's like, what do you do? Most people are in some construction or some different stuff. But yeah, I'm a farmer. So.
That's amazing. And that's the thing. If you were in Super, your nickname would be Brad Gartner. Brad the Gardener.
Gardner.
Yeah.
Brad Gardner.
That's a shit call from Dusty. No,
We'll cut that out, will we?
No, keep
we
going.
won't.
That was
We
great.
keep-
yeah, keep going.
All right, let's keep going. So next one. But from Riley Brigg.
Again.
Was Riley Briggs go-kart the fastest thing you've been in?
Oh, so I said I haven't driven a bitumen go-kart, but I got to shout out Reece Devlin. He gets me a few laps down at the Mount Gambier Kart Club, which is where, like I said, Kai and Job and all that Scotty Pye cut their teeth. So I've done a couple laps down there with the Devlins, and unfortunately one of those karts was Riley's. He's shit operator in a go-kart, but hopefully he can commit to his career a bit more.
Is that to do with the broadcast, with the sprint cars? Speedway? Or is that different Devlin?
Well, I do know those Devlins, but
Is that a different
I
Devlin?
believe so. Yeah.
Okay, right.
It could be
okay.
related,
Fair
but
enough.
I believe so.
Thank you for that, Riley. Dan Evans official.
Again, he loves coming on
Who
the show.
is the quickest Gartner and why is it Jack?
Oh, Dan. So Dan raced against my brother in the 360 All-Stars series in sprint cars. He raced against Jack, and it's definitely not Jack, hence why I'm here and he's on the farm.
All right, I've got Brad Vaughan.
Oh, this will be good.
Is it confirmed you're entering the Paddock Bash Cup?
100%, Brad.
We
Done.
talked about this early. So he's
There
a
you go.
dark horse.
Confirm. And why is Brad the best name ever?
Why is Brad? Well, simply because myself and Brad Vaughan.
That's good.
Simple as that.
It's a good luck charm. Brad's a good name.
It's simple as that.
Brad's a good name for winning. You got what NASCAR driver's called Brad?
How many rounds has the Super 2 done this year?
Like 2, 3, 2.
What have they done?
Super Series?
Simmons.
No.
Super Series has done
No.
Winton.
The Super 2.
Simmons Plains and City Motorsport Park.
Is that it?
That's it. 2.
Two rounds.
Yeah.
Must finish off the year strong then.
You've got a lot of family members that have sent comments.
Yeah, I want to hear them all. Is that all right?
Tyson Martin 14. Who's his fastest cousin?
Well, the fastest cousin in our whole family is obviously me.
Yeah.
But if your Australian won in a wingless sprint out of 114 cars.
Did he win that?
Yeah.
At Mildura?
Yeah.
He was quick, wasn't he?
I just simply have to say Tyson.
Yeah. Oh,
After
there you
me.
go.
But he was
Tyson.
I think we spoke about this a couple of months ago. He drove, I didn't know who
He's
it
a good
was.
steer, and Tyson's
he drove
very-
that. He was by far the quickest out of anyone.
And he's just so dedicated. Like that car, he goes to the shed and preps that thing himself, and just he deserves.
Is he your cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
That's cool.
He's an absolute operator and just presents himself extremely well, and he smoked everyone that and all last season. So.
So competitive.
wow.
Wingless sprints is just...
you rock up with 110 cars.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah,
ask
exactly.
Bradley Vaughan how he went at that race.
Yeah.
But he
It's
was
not-
actually
he-
did
He
quite
ran
well.
fourth or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah.
Amazing talent for the category. I've got one from Biggins Jesse.
Oh, no.
Did Brad start his career wheeling a BT50 around the farm? Question mark.
Yes.
He's a ute driver.
Yeah.
He's a ute driver.
Yeah, so
He's a super driver by trade.
that one there has come from Jesse, one of our old workers. We're in the BT50 once, and I just spun it out and pretty well backed it into a fence, and now he thinks I can't drive.
What did your dad say about that?
Dad probably doesn't know.
He does now.
Yeah.
He does now. I've got one from Tabitha Ambrose.
I know what this is going to be already.
What's his all-time favourite Chinese restaurant?
Yeah,
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Go
Asking
on.
for a friend probably is in her dad, Marcus. It's obviously honey chicken, fried rice, and the very debatable, according to Marcus, Singapore noodles. That's
You know
my
what?
go-to.
That's my favourite.
Yeah.
3 favourites right there.
So-
generic, but the best.
Literally every time Marcus or Tabitha get in front of a Speed Cafe interview or anything, any time like this, it's always, next question, ask Brad Gartner his Chinese meals. So
How did this all start?
started with, got to know Marcus quite well through, he bought my Excel, the Fight MND car that I had. So he bought that. And then, we just stayed in touch, and Stephen White from ISA, not the white dog.
There's two Stephen White.
So Stephen White, who runs ISA, he does a thing with the TAFE over there at Winton, and they do a little Winton 300 Enduro, and myself and Tabitha drove it, and I kept telling him, like, the best Chinese in Winton. And we went to good old Kim Wah there, and I just cracked it up that much to Marcus, he won't let go. Simple as that.
There you go. Thank you, Tabitha and Marcus. That's awesome. Sam Gartner.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, brother.
Who's got the most talent in the family?
Oh, another.
That's a lot of family members here.
He's obviously it's obviously me, but to be fair, Sam, anytime Sam used to come out of the footy oval and give up Jamie Ville for a weekend, he'd probably beat me. So I'm glad he gave it up and I took it on, because he'd probably smoke me.
So he works with the Ville 410s team.
Yeah. So
what
he
does he
started
do?
out with Brad Keller.
Okay.
He started out with Brad Keller, and then I think Brad was having a year off or something, and Brad and Jamie were quite close, and Sam got in with Jamie, and ever since then, I think it's been early days. He was in school still. He's 23 or 4 now. He lived with Jamie, done everything with Jamie, and has been in Warner ever since. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Went to America with him.
I don't know if I can say this, but I'll do it. Cheyenne Robin?
Oh, no. Yeah, go on.
What's your greatest achievement? Brackets. Better be pulling my sister.
No,
What is that about?
that's Cheyenne from the bend.
That's the bend. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Hang on. With Cheyenne.
For the hot laps.
Which, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm with it. Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that- what is your best achievement?
So you're going out With someone now, yes.
with Cheyenne's sister.
Yeah.
Okay,
Madeline,
right.
yes.
I'm with it.
Yes.
How long's that been going for?
We're grilling him now. How long
This is a motorsport podcast. No,
Yeah,
sure.
no. It's more than this.
Yeah, Cheyenne. It's definitely been with Madeline.
Yeah, that's the greatest achievement.
No, greatest achievement would have to be just, I don't know, probably, sounds really cliche, but making mum and dad proud, because the amount they give me is incredible, and my whole family, Sam, Jack, my grandparents, everything, it's cliche for every race car driver to say this, but the dedication and sacrifices they've made for me to be sitting here getting on a plane tomorrow to continue to race cars is very cool. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's very true. Very true. They're great people. I've met them too, and they are a ball of fun.
Yeah.
We did that at the pub a couple months ago randomly. It's just a big smile to have around.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
Ethan Fitzgerald. Hey, Ethan. Hey, Brad. Massive fan here. Would you sign my chest? If you
I'd
could?
sign anything of Ethan's.
What's the weirdest thing you've signed?
Oh, I'm not famous, so nothing really. Probably. Well, actually,
You're famous.
I'll tell you,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I've signed first.
It's
I've
R-rated,
I've
this
signed
podcast.
boobs, but they were Josh Haynes' dad's.
Oh, how big was it?
Nah, big signature.
See,
No,
a
shout
D
out
cup.
to- shout out
A
to-
D cup,
I
sure.
shout out to Steve Haynes the night I. No, I didn't know what he does know man boobs. I'm taking it back. He's got a very, he's a fit man. He's a concreter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
they're firm. So you didn't have to pull.
Poor Kylie would have got back to the motel that night, and he was walking around with Brad Gartner plastered across his chest.
You reckon that would have been like a
Turn off.
Yeah.
100%. That's 100%.
That's cool.
Sorry, Steve.
So that's the end of our Q&A comments. Thanks everyone for sending those in. A lot of shockers there. We love
That's
that.
a good one.
from
We love it. Keep sending them in.
You got some good
Yeah.
family.
Keep sending them in.
Keep sending them in.
Right, in closing,
In closing,
what do we say?
Well-
So next racing is obviously we talked about NASCAR, Australians in NASCAR.
Yep.
We're going to be watching that. So we'll bring that up in the next podcast in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, we've got the Vaughan's Paddock Bash Cup, which we're all going to be there.
Yeah,
so we're going to
we'll
get
be
some
there.
good content there.
that's going to be a massive video on YouTube. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Some 360 cameras and all
big
sorts.
names. We need to do like a massive like group shot, like grid
Yeah.
shot.
It is
Like,
going
this
to be
a-
some big names. We've got like half the Super 2 group.
Super 2,
Yeah.
Super Utes. We've got
Career
a
Cup,
lot of going
we've got
on.
Cup
XLs.
Cup,
It's
410s.
out of control.
Lucky Madonna.
Is he?
coming. Yeah.
Oh,
I
this is
can't
gonna
wait
be
to take
good.
him out. So that's good.
So
I'm so excited
We've
for
all
that,
painted
yeah.
them up with liveries.
Yeah.
We spent, me and Ruben were out here spending some time at Bunnings buying paint and spraying them
Are you
up.
guys doing anything performance enhancing?
Nah, we can't.
Nah.
It's all stock.
Nah.
I've got
Brad
dirt.
Vaughan-
I've got dirt tires.
I know what Steve Vaughan's like. I feel like Brad Carr's going to be like.
No,
oh,
well,
No,
I was
Brad
leading.
normally.
I was
doesn't-
leading most of the race.
Cottrell was on fire, and it's
Yeah.
come
Really?
stock.
And
You-
stock as a rock.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
you just got to not get spun out, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, it's
But-
all about strategy,
Yeah.
you know, like undercut, overcut. We're doing pit stops this year?
No, it's
Oh,
just no
no,
enduros.
we got to do.
No, it's
Nah, I think
we're not
Brad's
doing enduros.
he's changed the rules this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, we can't say too much. We'll wait
If
till it to
I
happen.
was doing it, I can't even tell you this, but if he's not doing pit stops, I feel like in a Paddock Bash Cup, would you not just pit like second lap and then just do heaters? Because
But sometimes if the slow guys are coming around, you get trapped.
yeah, true.
You're fucked.
So people like Dusty.
Nah, he wasn't too bad last year. You were mid pack, weren't you?
I was mid pack, but I just
Yeah.
couldn't drive for shit. So yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how the
Straight stock
format
prep,
goes,
yeah.
but that's part of the fun. But looking forward to it. That's in 1 week, isn't
that
it?
is in 1 week. So yeah,
So that's a good one.
Hope to see out soon.
Hi-Tech Oils Super Series at QR.
Yep.
Have you raced there a couple times?
Yep. So my debut there, ran
Yep.
third. Second time went there, lost the brakes, and
Yep.
then ran second there last year to Josh Haynes. Very
So you got-
controversial. He clearly run me off the track.
Right.
So fuck
Yeah.
him.
We'll pull that
No,
up as
joking.
well. But you
Yeah.
got a good setup. You're pretty confident going in here.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not fully confident on the new tyres yet, just because I don't.
So no Hoosiers.
Nah, we're on good years now.
So is it the same?
No, I
style?
don't. Not really. Stiffer sidewall. A lot stiffer sidewall.
Ah, okay.
The cars don't drive the same, and they probably drive pretty similar. But I don't test, and I just
Yep.
credit to other people that don't test and go out and just adapt to it quicker. I haven't been able to adapt to it, and that's
So,
on me.
so it's a stiffer profile.
Yeah.
So like a softer spring.
Yeah, it's definitely different ways. We've nearly approached it on every angle. We've also
Don't let all the secrets out.
well,
though.
we've also had a pretty rough trot the first couple of rounds. So
Yep.
I mean, we DNF'd one race and got taken out, running second and got spun out last time. So it's different approaches. We're getting there. Had Chris Bither on the car last
Yep.
time. Max Vidal and Aaron Tebb from Alltech this weekend. So let's see if we can tune her up and jump on the podium.
So it's you and Robbie Farr? Is it?
Yeah, so Robbie
2K?
Farr. Yep. So Robbie, he didn't do round 2 of the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. He done Perth though, so that was cool. He picked up a ride there. So yeah, jump in with Robbie Farr, and yeah, hopefully that's his home track. Hopefully we have a good event.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
Thanks,
And
everyone.
where are you next?
Me, Paddock Bash Cup, and then
Yep.
I've got Nationals for XLs coming up at Phillip Island. So
I'm racing Townsville.
Townsville, I'll be there with you, so I'll be supporting you, and a couple of events.
Never raced there.
Beautiful track, good environment. I love Townsville. You're gonna be hooked on
Really
it.
good.
Hopefully it all goes well. But thank you so much, Brad, for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
boys. Thank you.
Subscribe, YouTube,
Yep.
Spotify. It really
Yes,
helps out the algorithms and stuff
What
like
about
that.
me?
So
Tag
jump
me.
in there.
Tag
Jump in
Don't
there.
forget to please follow Brad Gartner, not Brad Gartner Racing, Brad Gartner 22 on Instagram and also Facebook. You'll find him as well. So thank
Hit a
you
wall.
very much.
Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you.